State Champs Game Time Live is delivered by Hungry Howie's Pizza, celebrating 50 years of flavor. State Champs Game Time Live is also brought to you by Lawrence Technological University. Be curious, make magic. The future of education begins at ltu.edu. Alta Equipment, Michigan's #1 construction equipment provider, proudly representing the industry's top brands. Get the right equipment for your project every time with Alta Equipment. The Construction Association of Michigan, the voice of the construction industry in Michigan. U.S. Navy, transform your life and become part of something bigger. Learn more about naval careers at Navy.com. And the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
Well, Mother Nature still thinks it's summertime, but the calendar tells us it's football season. Thank goodness. Welcome to Brighton High School. What a matchup we got in week 1. It's the powerful Hornets from Saline against the hometown Brighton Bulldogs. Welcome onto the field in game 1 of what's going to be a great high school football season in our great state of Michigan. He's Grant Perry. I'm Evan Stockton alongside the rest of our great crew. Elizabeth Kuhn joins us on the sidelines in just a second. So, this is Game Time Live with State Champs. We'll be traveling all across Michigan next couple of months to tell you the best high school football stories in our state. And if you don't believe that my partner Grant Perry has got the credentials here, knows what the heck he's talking about, let's show you a few highlights. Back in the day, in the orange, the black, and the white of Brother Rice, my man, you were making it happen week after week.
Man, it was fun. Had a great time, and those are some of the best experiences you'll have. The high school football, the Friday night lights, and I'm getting chills just being out here, having the ability to talk about the game. The atmosphere is great. A little hot.
Yeah.
Hope you brought your sweat drags, but I'm ready to go. I'm excited to be on the call with you.
I would show you my highlights from Detroit Catholic Central, but I don't think that tape exists anymore. So let's just talk about this game instead. Brighton's really a fascinating team. They're always contenders in the KLAA, but here's the thing. Last year they start 8-0. They lost about 20 seniors from last year's team, so as we look to this year, it's kind of going to be a guessing game early on as to what we're going to get with these Brighton Bulldogs.
Yeah, just like you said, it's going to be a real question mark on both sides of the ball for Brighton and Saline. Both teams have a lot of young guys that need to step up today, especially in that linebacker core on the defense for Brighton. They lost 3 of their starters. There were also 3 of their captains last year, so that takes a little bit off your team there. But they got a lot of guys that they said are coming up through the ranks that have been working hard for an opportunity, and they're going to present it today.
And then on the other side of things, if you follow high school football in Michigan, you know this state does not lack quarterback talent. But the quarterback for Saline, with that famous last name, CJ Carr, this guy takes a backseat to nobody.
No, yeah, he's a really, really good athlete as well. He's not afraid to run it, too. He had some great scrambles in the film I watched this past for the 2022 season. But forget the feet. It's about the arm, right? He's got a heck of a cannon. He knows where to throw the ball. He knows where the right reads are going. One thing I will say today, I'll be interested to see if Brighton brings some pressure, some blitzes.
Yeah.
Last year, there was a little bit of shaky water with the blitzes, but CJ Carr, one heck of a player, and he's got some good studs around him as well.
Stay hydrated. Let's do this thing. Saline and Brighton, Game 1, Game Time Live for State Champs. Coming up next, live from Brighton.
At Hungry Howie's, we're famous for flavor, and this is our Chief Flavor Officer. Every hour of every day, our CFO obsesses over the tastiest ingredients, combining them to create new flavor combinations your taste buds never knew they needed. Until now. Introducing his latest master pizza, the Bee Sting. Hot honey drizzle, classic cup pepperoni, and spicy jalapenos, or any 2 toppings. And our famous flavored crust. It's all the buzz.
Hungry?
Howie's!
From our very first breath, curiosity is why we question everything through barrages of whys and how comes. It now needs the tools to will its vision into existence. Tools that will forever allow curiosity to obscure the line between technology and magic. Be curious. Make magic. Lawrence Technological University.
At Alto Equipment, we know when it comes to getting your job completed on budget and on schedule, uptime matters. Alto Equipment has partnered with the biggest names in construction, including Volvo, Leeboy, Sonnebogen, Avant, ASV, and more to provide the state of Michigan with industry-leading service and support. Alto Equipment services all makes and models, and their technicians are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Do you have a big project? Alta Rents has you covered with the most diverse rental fleet in Michigan. Give them a call at 844-GO-TO-ALTA today.
Looking for a score, a schedule, a story? MHSAA.com has you covered. Our newly redesigned website has everything you need to follow high school sports in Michigan. And it's optimized for mobile use. Fans can submit scores on a Friday night, check playoff pairings and game times, or read about the student athletes from your community. Your first stop is MHSAA.com. Connect with us online and get everything you need all in one place.
If you are not already standing, please rise. Gentlemen, remove your hats and render the proper respect for our national anthem.
Been waiting for a scene like that for about 10 months. Let's go down to the sideline. Third member of our crew, Elizabeth Kuhn, standing by.
Week one of the 2023 season is underway, and I was able to catch up with both head coaches to see really what their expectations are heading into week one. Brighton head coach, Coach Lemon, said that even though they graduated a really big group last year, he said he's really excited to see what these guys are going to bring out week one. They've been working hard all summer long. He said he's really confident in this group, and we're excited to see what they bring out week one. Coach Pelka for Saline, he said that they're really looking to just rebound from last season, especially in the conference. He said the guys have really been putting team above themselves, so he's excited to see what they bring out week one as well. They're excited, we're excited. Hopefully the weather holds out and we're able to have a good one for you guys. Evan, back to you.
You know what, Liz, every once in a while working in this profession, you have to become an amateur meteorologist. I looked at the radar before I left my car a little bit ago. I think we'll be okay until like 10:30, 11. So the drive home may get interesting, but Grant, I think we're going to get this full football game in, and we get a treat here to start the ball game as those officials are getting ready to get this thing ready to go. CJ Carr and Saline will take the field first. Couple of guys back deep for the Hornets. That's Cade Fox, number 11, right side of the screen. And Brighton will send it away in the orange and white. Braden Childs, number 44, ready to get this high school football season in Michigan off and rolling. We've waited 10 months. What's 10 seconds? All right, here we go. Childs gets it in the air, and we are underway. That is a booming kick into the end zone and a touchback to start tonight in Brighton. You know, CJ Carr, Grant, is one of those guys who so many have heard about, so many have read about, so many have watched before. But as they watch him again tonight, what do you want them to watch specifically with this stud senior quarterback?
Pay attention to the way he gets rid of the ball. His release is quick, it's fast, he's got good ball placement, and he knows where he's going with the ball. He doesn't spend a lot of time trying to figure out the defense. He just does what takes what the defense gives him,
CJ will start alone in the gun. Throwing on the first play of the year, it's nearly picked, it's still caught. You talk about averting disaster. He finds Dylan Messman, his tight end bound for Louisville. This was nearly a horrible mistake on play number 1.
Oh boy, it's the first play of the year. You know, there's going to be some mistakes today. You know, there's going to be some nerves flowing. Even CJ Carr's nervous, I guarantee it. But Luke Whitaker, number 10 for Brighton, they're almost just put a little bit of momentum in this crowd. He wants that one back, but I guarantee he'll keep playing hard. Dylan Messman with the catch, Louisville commit. You'll see a lot of him today as well.
Saline is going to rely on Carr, but they will have to use the running game. Issa and Rush, the two running backs you'll see tonight. This is the sophomore, James Rush, joining Carr in the pistol. Still awaiting the ready for play here. There appears to be a malfunction with the clock. All right, there we go. Everyone getting the offseason jitters out of the way. It is game number 1. Carr gives. Run number 1 for Rush. And it didn't gain very much. Tried that Brighton D-line, and a bunch of guys in orange and white surging to the football.
Brighton is flowing to the football right now, man. They're pumped up. Saline does like to run some boundary runs there. You know, they try to get numbers advantage into the boundary being the short side of the field. But, you know, Brighton's ready for that one. They're coming out strong here. Let's see if they can get off the field here. Oh, it's only second down. Excuse me.
Helps the cause, though, when you don't gain any on first. Throw number 2 for Carr. Caught again. And a lot of room for Saline. This is a first down and more into Brighton territory in the hands of the guy who led the team in catches and touchdowns last year, Cade Fox.
Yeah, Cade Fox, he showed up on tape a lot last year, like you said. He was their leading receiver, most productive receiver as a junior. And on that play right there, a little tunnel screen to him in the slot, your job as a receiver is to catch that ball, see where the defenders are, and get north and south as fast as possible. He did a fantastic job there.
And I want to get Fox in open space because he runs a 4.6 40. That's not normal. Throwing again, caught again, Fox. Got around 1, pushed out of bounds near the 35. You can tell, Grant, the early attack plan for Saline, let's get the ball to guys in space and let them go.
Yeah, and you notice that they're letting CJ get that. They're having him get rid of the ball quick, right? It's a screen pass. It's a hitch on the first play of the game that was almost a pick, but it wasn't. So they're still moving the ball, and there they throw a little out route. And Brighton plays a kind of off zone, so that flat route's going to be there a lot today. They incorporate that a lot in their offense with stick routes and flat routes and little roll passes, getting those guys in the flat open and getting them the ball right away.
Carr throws. Fox catches. Tackled in the open field this time. Well done, Jack McKinnon.
You're going to see a lot of motion today from both offenses as well. They live with the motion. They use it to gain leverage there, trying to out-leverage the defense, trying to get that receiver a little bit of extra cushion there to make someone miss. But Brighton comes up and makes a great tackle, making it a long second down.
Saline has only run the ball once on this drive, and they didn't gain a yard on that run. They'll throw again. Carr over the middle. Catch, Messman. State of Michigan, get ready to hear that about 1 million times this year. Saline first down, and they are moving into the Brighton red zone.
And they're just coming out with their best plays right now. Both of these teams got about 10 to 15 plays that they have already scripted, right? They got their bread and butter, the most highest value production plays lined up, ready to go, and they're getting the big players involved early. Cade Fox and Dylan Messman there on the slant.
Carr throwing, and it's caught. Nice job by Rush on a pass that was a little errant, but he still caught that ball and gained a nice little chunk on first.
Yeah, Rush is another player that really intrigues me, and I'll be interested to see how they use him today. True freshman last year, started at cornerback, saw about 30 to 40 touches at running back. Really explosive player, someone I think that they can count on going forward this season. As he is a young player, but they're going to put a lot on his shoulders.
Second run for Rush, and room for Rush. This is a Saline touchdown. Last year, the sophomore. This year, James Rush. He's got a touchdown on the first drive of the year. He had one all year last year as a freshman. That's a heck of a start for James.
Yeah, it is. And they ran a little counter there, man. They was just, two pulling guards to the boundary. They just give the ball to James, let him do the rest of the work. And another thing I want to pay attention to, and you viewers as well, do the same. Brighton got beat on the edge a lot last year. They had trouble with containing runs, especially into the short side of the field. And Saline takes advantage of that early, gets on the board. Great play call, way to scheme the defense. Good job by Saline early on, which could have been a natural disaster early on with that interception. But great drive by Saline.
Heck of a start for Saline on that touchdown run for Rush. Friendly reminder for you, Hungry Howie's a great partner of the State Champs Networks. Mr. Football and Anvil Awards. Congrats to Hungry Howie's. 50 years of the absolute best flavored crust pizza. Order your pizza right now at hungryhowies.com. So now, Grant, here's what I wonder, right? We opened the broadcast talking about the fact that Brighton, it's not quite an entirely team this year. It's darn close with the amount of seniors that they lost from last year. One drive, one touchdown for Saline. You got to wonder how the Brighton offense responds here.
Yeah, like I said earlier, they're going to have a few plays that they know that they're going to go to here early on. They ran these plays all week, right? They're just critiquing them. Hey, you got to get this guy, got to block him here. This is going to be the look. So they're ready, man. And this is the first drive of their season. You got to come out and make a statement. You can't come out here and pity-patty. They're going to come out here guns blazing, and I think they're going to have a good drive here, if that's my guess.
I do love watching the first drive of anyone's season. I love watching the first drive of any week of football, but especially the first drive of the season. You've literally been scripting this thing for 9 months. You better have a good game plan,
Yep. And both these teams are coming off of good seasons, but not great, right? They had a little bit of a stall in the postseason, both these teams. So they've been sitting eager to get out here and prove that this season's going to be a better one for them going forward.
Jacob Piniataglu made the extra point for Saline. Now he's kicking away. Pretty darn good kick. And Brighton will return it with Mitchell Ruzinski. That wasn't the best decision. He's not even going to make the 15. Nice job by the Saline special teams unit. Swarm into the ball. Keegan Ewert in on the tackle, number 30. So here's what we got to watch for the Brighton offense. Grant Heatherton, a 6'2" senior, who was flip-flopping with quarterback Colin McKernan throughout last year. Grant takes the starting role this year. Grant Perry, what should we know about Grant Heatherton, Brighton's starting quarterback?
Fantastic question. So he did get some time last year. Threw about 100 passes or so. Or I think he had about 131 yards, on about 20 passes. He came in the Belleville game. It was a little bit of a blowout, but he's got the keys this year, right? It's his car. He's driving it. look for him to make plays in the air, also with his feet. Brighton's at their best when they got a mobile quarterback. So I wouldn't be shocked if he gets 50, 60 yards a day on the ground.
He's throwing on play number 1 of the year. He's got time to do it, and a wide open guy. Braden Platt. What a start for the Bulldogs.
And what do you want to do on the first play of your first drive of the new season? You want to get your quarterback comfortable, and that's what they do. They run a little crossing pattern by the two and the both of the inside receivers, the slot receivers, and they find their guy there. First down, great play.
On the ground, run number 1 of the year for Carter Gregg, who's tough to find in there sometimes. 5'7". He can hide behind that O-line. That's a pretty good gain on first down.
Yeah. You want to get 3 to 4 yards. They got about 5 or 6 there. That's a fantastic drive. Carter Gregg, number 3, he's going to be their elusive speed kind of guy, hide behind the lineman. And then you'll also see number 16, Mason Dito, today as well.
Unfortunately, Nate Stark was going to be one of the Brighton running backs as well, but he got injured in the preseason. Atherton rolling and stepping up. He is awfully close to the first down. He may be about a half-yard shy. But a good start on this drive for Brighton, Grant, staying ahead of the sticks.
Yeah, ahead of the sticks is huge, especially on your first drive here. You got a lot of butterflies. I'm sure that first down helped you clear some of those. But when you got a quarterback that can run, you give him plays that work for him, right? And those roll passes, if no one's there, he's going to tuck and run. So that's a fantastic job. You're going to see a lot of that today. So don't be afraid of it, man. The roll pass, the quarterback on the move is going to be there.
First down, by the way, for Brighton. That's a generous spot. Saline shows pressure. Atherton throws incomplete. Trying to find Easton Hardesty, far side of the field. Atherton listed on the roster at 6'2". On last year's roster, he was 6 feet. So according to the roster, Grant grew a couple of inches in the offseason. I know I'm not breaking any news to you sports fans. Sometimes the roster lies, but in this case, I believe it. Grant looks a little taller this year.
He does. He's got a little bit of swagger, too. I remember being in this booth watching versus Belleville. He's coming out with a whole new demeanor today.
Here he's setting up a tunnel screen that's tipped and nearly picked. It was high for Sebastian Boya, and Isaiah Harris merely made a diving pick.
Yeah, and like I said, both these teams are going to run very similar concepts. They're just running another outside tunnel screen there to Sebastian Boya, number 5. A little bit of a high ball. He had pressure. Saline brought pressure there, so Grant had to manipulate his throw. Tough play there, but we're going to see a lot more of that, and they're going to come back to it. Third down and long here, though. They're going to have to open up the playbook to keep the sticks moving.
Atherton off the fake, facing pressure. He got away. There's a flag down as the pass is incomplete. It was behind Boya again. We'll check the flag. It's a penalty on Saline. Going to be 4th down. And a good-looking drive, Grant, for Brighton, but right as we talk about them staying ahead of the sticks, don't gain a lot on first down, and clearly that hamstrung them rest of the possession.
Yeah, and every play matters, and you may not realize it or not, but they were kind of stuck on the right hash. And as a quarterback, a right-handed quarterback, where do you throw best? To your right, moving to the right, anything to the right for right-handed, left-handed, to the left. In that situation, they just too tight. The condensed formation in the boundary just didn't work, and it was just a little too cloudy there. I bet they wish they were on the left hash rolling right on that one.
Had to roll a long way on that punt. It's going to take a good Brighton bounce and die right around the 34-yard line. So Saline bends a little bit defensively on the first drive of the ball game, but doesn't break. And now the Hornets coming back in the field with C.J. Carr, who did not throw a touchdown in the first drive, but he helped the boys get inside the red zone with a bunch of good throws. So now you kind of wonder, Grant, what adjustments can Brighton try to make defensively to slow down Saline, who look darn good on possession number 1?
Yeah, I'm wondering the same thing. I think right now they're thinking, hey, they've been throwing these short passes, these tunnel screens. I wouldn't be surprised. Brighton runs a cover 4 where they play really low, right? The safeties will play about 7-8 yards. Cornerbacks are already scooting up, as you can see. So they're kind of trying to anticipate these short patterns. Let's see if Saline takes it deep.
Carr thrown again. Fox tackled again. Gorgeous tackle in the open field by Whitaker.
Can't say enough good things about Luke Whitaker, man. He is a guy that didn't start last year but came under the 3 starting linebackers, the 3 captains. They taught him a lot. He is going to have a heck of a season, man. He's an athletic linebacker. He plays the Sam linebacker, right? That's going to be the linebacker to the field or to the strength. So he's got to cover ground. He's got to protect the run and also cover receivers and tight ends. So he's got his hands full today, but so far so good by 10, Luke Whitaker, man.
Zane Issa, the senior, is now on Carr's left. First time we've seen him. It's been the James Rush running attack so far for Saline. And we will get a timeout. Our first of the ball game. Saline takes it right with that new running back onto the field. Alta Equipment knows that when it comes to getting your job completed on budget and on schedule, uptime matters. Alta Equipment partners with the biggest names in construction with industry-leading service and support. You can give them a call at 844-GO-TO-ALTA. Special thanks to all our partners here with Game Time Live and State Champs, having the chance to travel all across the state of Michigan. Thanks to all of you watching along with us, however you're doing it. I'd say just watching on YouTube, but let's be honest, there's a million different ways to watch sporting events these days. So however you're watching, thanks. And for anyone joining us on WJR tonight, driving around on a Thursday night, thanks for making a little time for us too. We appreciate you.
I know one person tuning into the radio, my grandma. She said she's going to give us a listen tonight. So if you're listening, Grandma, love you. How you doing tonight?
The over-under on when Grant would mention his grandma is watching and listening was the second quarter. Messman again, good-looking throw from Carr. He gets dominoed down right around the 40. Saline with a chunk on second, and this makes the third down a little bit short.
Yeah, it does. Second down in a country mile, what do most people think? Throw it deep, get the first down immediately. CJ Carr just steps back, lets everything develop in front of him, and finds his big target. Number 5, Dylan Mesman on a crossing route, which is just wide open in Brighton's zone right now.
Already a handful of catches for Dylan Mesman. Guy going to play for Louisville. Had to spurn Michigan State, by the way. His dad played football at State and his mom played hoops. I'm sure that conversation wasn't uncomfortable at all. C.J. Carr over the middle. It's caught. First down, Saline, and into Brighton territory. Cade Fox, another grab. Man, they are just making a living on those dump down passes, aren't they?
Yeah, man. And then, like I said, they're just going to take what the defense gives them. I don't know how long it's going to take Brighton to kind of adjust, right? They're throwing these 5-yard shallow crosses. Brighton's linebackers are taught, hey, when you see the quarterback drop back, you're going to drop back with them, right? You're going to get depth, protect your hook to curl, your middle read, and you're going to look for anything that comes in front of your face. You got to cover it, though, if it's in front of you, so that's a tough job there, but let's see if Brighton can adjust.
Another play-action fake. Carr throws, wide open man. Dylan Mesman down the sidelines. Another first down for Saline inside the Brighton 35.
Another beautiful play there. They're running the fake outside zone to the left. Dylan Mesman is just kind of sinking down through the line of scrimmage. We call him slicing or sliding down the line of scrimmage. Does a fantastic job there of selling the run, and he's wide open in the flat, man. The flats and the shallow crosses are open for days. They're open for business, and I think Saline's going to keep buying and keep purchasing stock in those passing concepts.
I don't know if these guys are old enough to buy stock yet, by the way. All right, here's a give to Rush. Had the touchdown in the last drive. Maneuvering his way through the line. Another great gain for Saline and another first down.
Saline is just they're calling the right plays. First down and and 10 there, and they call a little counter to the boundary. I'm really impressed so far with James Rush's footwork and his ability to hop cut or jump cut, excuse me, and just find the holes, man. And it's tough. You got to follow those two pulling tackle and guards to the play side, and you're kind of waiting for the play to develop. But James Rush did a fantastic job there, and expect him to get more touches too with the 6, 7, 8 yard gains he's getting.
Still awaiting the ready for play here. Officials holding up play for a second as the clock continues to roll. CJ Carr strikes me as the type of quarterback who doesn't enjoy situations like this. Let me snap the ball and let's get this thing going.
No, I mean, when you're hot, you don't want to cool off, right? You don't step in the shade. You step right into the sun. They're burning hot right now. If I was them, I'd want to keep going too.
Grant, I'd love to be in the shade right now. I'm just saying.
It's kind of shady, but it is still thick out here, man.
Oh,
it's a hot
sticky.
day. Could you imagine having a helmet on right now? You're sweating like you're playing, too.
You had to bring that up, man. Like, that's uncalled for.
We'll get you a sweat rag before we get on camera.
All right.
Hey, I'm sweating, too. You're not, hey, I'll throw myself under that bus with you.
Again, you had to bring it up, Right now it's an audio medium because the camera's not on us. Let the theater of the mind, People didn't have to know. Here's Rush again, not very much that time. Couple of times they've tried the right side on a run. Brighton's done a nice job defensively squeezing it up.
Yeah, really good job there. Kind of just collapsing in the gaps, making the running back kind of have to hesitate. And it's interesting to see. I'm going to have to pay attention when they're not in the red zone, but Brighton's kind of playing a little man coverage down here. I wonder if that's due to the fact that they're getting beat on these short crossers and these flat routes, or if it's their goal line red zone defense. So stay in tune for that. They're making adjustments right now. Let's see how they pay off.
Second down, 9. Carr with the clean pocket. No longer a clean pocket. Down he goes into the arms of Hayden Lorius.
And when you get in Hayden Lorius's arms, there's nowhere to go, man. He's a state champ power lifter, one of their big bruising O-lineman, D-lineman guys. Fantastic job. Brighton needed a little play right there, and they got it. They got it out of their senior lineman, senior leader. And he's one of their captains as well, too. So I know that feels good, getting a sack on your first day of your senior campaign.
And it sets up a third down and long. Saline's got to get inside the 15. This ball's spotted at the 30. Carr with a clean pocket, floating it down the sideline, incomplete. Wanted the running back rush. Whitaker, that great linebacker, step for step.
Great job by Whitaker, staying step for step. And James is no slow guy, man. I don't know what he runs in the 40 or how fast he truly is, but on tape he looks like a guy that can move. And Luke Whitaker is showing the same thing. They had James right there in the slot, and they run a lot of empty. They'll put their running back in different places and try to find mismatches. And what you saw there was them attempting a mismatch, right? Bring the running back out in man coverage. You want your running back running a route on a linebacker because you in your mind you're like, hey, I know that guy can win. So good scheme, but just off on the timing a little bit. But good play call, but better defense by Brighton there.
Saline calls time before this fourth down. Every high school sporting event in our great state of Michigan has one thing in common: the officials. And officials are needed now more than ever before. You can go to MHSA.com for a little more info, because without officials, it's just practice. Shout out to all the officiating crews across the state as we kick off football in Michigan over the next couple of days. Bunch of games going on this week, Thursday. The first couple of weeks, it's a little easier to play on Thursdays instead of Fridays because school hasn't started yet for a lot of people. And then once school starts, we'll get back in the normal groove of Friday nights. So after taking a shot to the end zone on third down, now Saline back on the field, fourth down. Their kicker, Piniataglu, pretty good leg, but this would be a 47-yarder. So Saline going to keep CJ Carr on the field.
I wouldn't be surprised if Brighton brought a little bit of pressure here. Try to make CJ Carr's job here a little bit harder.
And here is our first chess match of the season with about 4.5 minutes to go in the first quarter. Brighton will call a timeout. I think there's maybe some people watching, Grant, going, isn't it a little early to go back-for-back timeouts? But let's be honest about this, right? With the way that Saline has moved the ball up and down the field, the way they got right into the end zone on that first drive pretty darn easily, it does feel like for Brighton, not just is this a important potential stop in terms of winning the game, but also a really important stop for their defense's morale going forward here against a great quarterback.
100%. It's tough to judge how the timeout pays off until a little bit later in the game. But in their mind, they're got to be thinking, hey, it's 4th down and 15. We got to get the right look on the field right now because this could become a 2-score game in one play. When CJ Carr is at the helm, he has the ability to throw it on a dime. So that's a smart move by Brighton. Who needs that timeout right now? You know what I mean? So use it and then just get your right defense out there and protect the best you can.
And now it's going to be 4th down and even longer. Esmond jumped. Of all the guys to jump.
And that usually tells you one thing. He might have had his number called on that one. Getting a little excited out there, man. But right now that timeout's looking pretty good. They just bought 5 yards in the opposite direction. I'm interested to see. We don't know what they had on, but I want to see if Mesman gets involved here.
4th down and 20. What does CJ Carr have in that bag of tricks? He needs a little help, not going to get it. Brighton gets the stop, and it's Bulldog ball.
Like we kind of touched on in the opening, I want to see what CJ Carr does when he has pressure in his lap, when he's got to make plays on the move, outside the pocket. Last year he ran into some issues, turning the ball over, bad ball security outside the pocket, getting hit by the guy he can't see, making some throws that were ill-advised, turned into red zone interceptions. So I want to see a little bit of a growth in that aspect, and that's a good throwaway right there. His receiver or nobody. So good job there, avoided the turnover.
Atherton back in the field. He wants to throw. Now he tucks and runs. Lowered his shoulder. That's a 6'2 quarterback getting a little dirty. That's a 1st down for the Bulldogs.
I couldn't tell if that was the quarterback or the running back, the way he lowered the shoulder there, man. Grant Atherton, he wanted to get that 1st down, and he did. Bubble screen wasn't there. Said, you know what, I'm not going to make a bad decision. I'm going to tuck in and run. You're going to see a lot of that today, man. Grant Atherton can run the football, and as you can see, he's not afraid of contact.
And that time he got Saline to jump. Senior quarterback has been working on the hard count. Make it 1st down and a little shorter. So that ball moves to the 50. Nearly in the middle of the Bulldog logo. It's on the near hash. Atherton rolling. Talking and running. That's a pretty good recipe on this drive. Brighton tackled right near the 35 of Saline.
And these roll passes, man, you might as well just call it a QB boot because they're going to just take it if it's not there. And both of these teams last year, having gone through the 2022 season film for both these teams, they ran into some issues when they faced mobile quarterbacks. So they're going to have to figure out a way to spy the quarterback, to have a guy, maybe a lineman just drops into a zone and just kind of waits for him to declare. But both teams right now are going to have to figure out a way to get their quarterback from not getting outside the pocket.
Give Greg. Not very much. Waded his way through the middle of the line and was submarine near the 34. Isaiah Harris, one of the ones in on the tackle for Saline.
Good old counter football, baby. You'll see that all day today, through this next week, and for the next 20 years in high school football, college football, NFL. Doesn't matter. Counter is a staple of the run game, and it gets blown up a little bit right there. It's tough when your backside pullers get a little caught up in the mud. The defense has an opportunity to make a stop there, and they did.
Atherton on 2nd down. Good looking spiral. It's caught. Nice tackle in the open field as well. That's Kavanaugh on the tackle. Catch made by Caleb Webb, the 6'8" tight end. That is a heck of a target.
Yeah, it is, man. It's hard to miss a 6'8" guy. That's LeBron James running around out there, man. That's not the worst thing to see. We had some question marks on Caleb Webb. You know, talking with Coach Lemons, he said that he was going to be so excited to see Caleb Webb run around this year because he's coming off an injury last season, and he gets him a catch early on. He's going to build his confidence here. But we got a 3rd down and 2. I wouldn't be surprised if Grant Heatherton, decides to keep it.
Already kept it a couple of times on the drive. He keeps it again. Got the 1st down again. Chalk one up for Grant Perry. Into the red zone.
Study your film, folks. I mean, 3rd down and short from both of these offenses today. C.J. Carr and Grant Heatherton, you're going to see QB sneak. I mean, Saline even did it from 4 yards out. They ended up getting about 15 yards on the run. But both these teams are not afraid to throw their quarterback through the tackles, into that ringer. So fantastic job there by Grant Heatherton. He runs hard, doesn't he, man?
Woo! Yeah, for a 6'10" quarterback, that guy can lower the shoulder a little bit. Here it's Carter Gregg's ball. Not very much again. Man, they've tried to run it with him a couple of times on the drive, and they barely gained anything.
And it's hard when you got a Louisville commit coming after you, man. It's hard to miss that guy. That guy's got arms about as long as a giraffe, and he's hungry, man. Good tackle there. He got a little clouded in the middle. Carter Gregg was chopping his feet, didn't have a real hole to get through, and Saline defense does a good job there. And you're going to see Saline here. They're in a low look here. They're going to be playing a man coverage. Let's see what Brighton has in store for that.
Atherton off the snap. Rolling away from pressure. Thrown to the end zone. No. A little high for Platt.
I would have liked Platt's chances and Heatherton's chances if Heatherton had a good, clean pocket. But Saline brings the blitz. They go cover 0. That means there's no help over top, right? They're already backed into their own red zone. So you don't need to cover 40 yards. They go cover 0. They say, hey, everyone's got a man, and we're going to send another 2, or I think it was 1 or 2 guys. They sent 2 guys on the blitz, flushed him out, made it a really, really hard throw there. But Brighton had the right play call on. They went slants to the boundary, and they went corner hitch to the field there, and those are great man beaters.
Now what do they got? 3rd down long. Saline bringing pressure. Atherton right into that pressure. It's a sack. Ryan Stein, sack number 1 this year.
And that won't be his last. I liked Ryan Stein on film, man. He's a middle linebacker type for them. But, man, he looks like a hybrid safety, man. He comes down. He can fly to the ball. He can cover guys in passes. He does a fantastic job here.
So Braden Childs onto the field to try the field goal. They feel about as comfortable with Braden Childs as you'll find a high school kicker who's not going to kick in college. His range about 45 yards according to the coaches. Good snap, good hold, and this one is good. Told you they felt comfortable.
You know what, Evan? Great job by Brighton. They didn't get the 6-7 points that they wanted, but hey, they walked away with points. They drove the field. They kept C.J. Carr off the field, ran down some clock. So overall, you want 6 or 7 there. They'll take 3 though, especially with a quarterback in C.J. Carr and Saline and an offense like they have.
I just can't get over the fact that Braden Childs is as smooth as a kicker he is. He's 6'1", 230. Most kickers aren't 6'1", 230, but number 44 in orange sure gets the job done. About to kick it off again for Brighton.
Yeah, it takes a special person to go out there and take blocks head on as a defensive end, and then, you know what, hey, I'm going to go kick the extra point. That's a switch of mindset there, but Braden Childs heard nothing but good things from Coach Lemons on him. He's another leader that they're going to count on today. And he did a fantastic job there. He's another one of their captains as well, so he's going to be leading the ground with his voice, with his foot, and with his tackling.
4.1 GPA for Braden. Also plays some baseball next year. And that's another touchback. 2 kicks and 2 touchbacks for Braden Childs. All right, so here comes drive number 3 for Saline. The first one pretty darn good right down the field. The second one starting to approach that red zone, and then the drive stalled. What do you think happened last time for Saline, Grant?
Saline, they shot themselves in the foot a little bit there. Dylan Mesman on the 4th down, they make it 4th down and even longer with the false start. Just the first drive looked a lot different, right? They were hitting the shallow crosses. They were hitting the short hitch routes. So I wonder if they're going to try to get back to a little bit of that, maybe incorporate a little bit more run, keep it on the ground. They also have shown, and they're not lining up in it, but they'll go max pro. They'll block 8 guys, and they'll send 2 guys on go routes, comebacks. So I'm looking for that to come up soon, too. If the pressure's too much, they'll just stack the box, and they'll block everybody.
Carr throwing. Pass a little low, but caught. You talk about elusive agility. LaDainian Woods is in a foot race. He's never lost a foot race in his life. Get the ball in the hands of your athletes and get the heck out of the way.
Talking about guys having to step up. LaDainian here does a fantastic job. They're just going to run a little screen to the bottom, right? Little tunnel screen. He's going to catch it, make one guy miss, get vertical, and then the beautiful thing that he does, he doesn't dance in the hole. He doesn't chop his feet. He's not trying to juke anybody. LaDainian Woods is speed, and he showed it there. For a minute there, I thought you said LaDainian Tomlinson. So, whoa, not 21. No, LaDainian Woods, man. Great catch, great run, perfect execution. They come back to the tunnel screen too, right? It's been working early on. Brighton saw that it was working, so they.
We'll be back in a minute. 14-3, Saline on top.
At Hungry Howie's, we're famous for flavor, and this is our Chief Flavor Officer. Every hour of every day, our CFO obsesses over the tastiest ingredients, combining them to create new flavor combinations your taste buds never knew they needed. Until now. Introducing his latest master pizza, the Bee Sting. Hot honey drizzle, classic cut pepperoni, and spicy jalapenos, or any 2 toppings. And our famous flavored crust. It's all the buzz. Hungry?
Howie's! I said I'd never join.
Then I wouldn't get to work on one of these.
Never knew how strong I was.
I figured I'd never get out of my hometown. Or be the one who stops an attack. Joining the Navy sounds crazy. Saying never actually is.
At Alto Equipment, we know when it comes to getting your job completed on budget and on schedule, uptime matters. Alto Equipment has partnered with the biggest names in construction, including Volvo, Lieboy, Bogan, Avant, ASV, and more to provide the state of Michigan with industry-leading service and support. Alto Equipment services all makes and models, and their technicians are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Do you have a big project? Alta Rents has you covered with the most diverse rental fleet in Michigan. Give them a call at 844-GO-TO-ALTA today.
All right, we're back at Brighton High. Man, you talk about a monster play to end the first quarter. LaDainian Woods on play number 1 of Saline's third drive catches a pass from C.J. Carr, goes 75 yards to the house. So blink your eyes, and Saline's got their largest lead of the ball game at 14-3. Brighton just got a field goal of 40 yards on their last drive, and all that momentum feels like it's withered away in the sticky air. Beniatoglu kicks it away for Saline. Ruzinski will return for Brighton. Mitchell Ruzinski, a little bit of room, diving across the 25. And Brighton will start at the 26. Watching that Brighton last drive, Graham, they start off so well with the rolls, with Heatherton utilizing his great athletic ability. It kind of felt like they went away from it rest of the drive. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, they just, it's tough to keep running the same play. So, I give them a little bit of the benefit of the doubt there, trying to mix it up, show some different looks, not be so predictable. But, they keep finding themselves on this right hash. I promise you if they get to this left hash, they'll be a little bit more comfortable with those rolls, and we may see a little bit more of it show up.
How do they start this drive? They'll start with a run. Mason Ditto, carry number 1. Pretty darn good. Nice little chunk on first down across the 30.
When you need a spark, put a guy in that can light a flame, man. He's going to run over people. He's going to break tackles. Mason Ditto is their power back. He's the guy that they want running downhill. Great look there on that run. He just gets around the edge and just lowers the shoulder. Makes it a very second and very manageable, excuse me.
Ditto, a guy who did get bigger in the offseason, put on some pounds. Neither Mason or Carter Gregg, the running back in right now, will be confused for being huge. Hatherton on the run again. Lowering that shoulder again. But a pretty darn good recipe for Brighton so far. First down.
Yeah, really good. I mean, is there a pattern showing up or what? I mean, it's third and short, second and short. Put the ball in the playmaker's hand, right? They use the fly motion from Easton Hardesty across the formation to kind of get those Saline linebackers to kind of shift and move out, and then the power read is right there. They just stuff it right in the middle, and good job there by Grant Hatherton.
Give Gregg. Try on the right side, track down from behind. Fedototskit. Great job coming from the backside to make the tackle. In case you're wondering how Tyler spells his last name, Fedototsksin. No, you don't have to remember that. This is not the spelling bee. Although every time I watched that as a kid, I would sit there and go, I think I could do all right at this. And then I saw the words that they were spelling and went, yeah, no, I'm good. Atherton going to throw second down. Incomplete. Had a guy open over the middle, but he missed him. That was Hardesty.
Yeah, he did. And if I'm Grant Hatherton there, I don't have to get the first down on this play, right? That was second down in about 7 yards. He missed a shallow cross by Caleb Webb that would have ran for about 15 yards there. So if I'm Grant Hatherton, I just got to be in my own zone here. Understand that I don't have to pick it up every throw. He could have came down to the shallow there, but third down and 7 here. Expect them to go to the air again.
They will throw. Pressure coming. Hatherton gets the screen to Gregg. He's got to make a little magic happen. Carter put the shoulder down, and I think he did. That's a first down on a play that took a long time to develop.
Yeah, it did. But when those halfback screens, that's what that play was. When those halfback screens take a little bit of time and those linemen and linebackers are just trying to sack the quarterback, that's when you get the most success there. Carter Gregg does a fantastic job of tiptoeing the sideline, staying in Houdini style, and then cutting back, getting that first down the hard way. Great play there, and that's huge for their momentum here.
Keeping the drive alive right at midfield. Hatherton up the middle. He keeps finding a lot of room up the middle. Harris climbs on his back to make the tackle.
An old saying that someone told me in football.
What's that, Grant?
You can't go broke taking a profit. We've seen this play 3 times. They do the fly motion, and that time Hatherton didn't even fake it. He said, I'm going to keep it. He had his mind made up, and I don't blame him. Pick up of 9 yards there, 7 yards. That's a fantastic job there. Way to get ahead of the sticks. That's what they're going to have to do if they're going to be trailing in this game.
Atherton trying to take a profit again. He's not going broke running that play. That's another first down.
No, he's not.
Objectively, what does that phrase mean? Just doing the smart thing time and again? I don't know.
Yeah, I know. Just if you get 3 or 4 yards a pop, mathematically speaking, you're going to get a first down every drive. So they're just going to keep following it. And then the hole, you could drive a truck through this hole, right? I mean, Grant Hatherton's just putting his foot in the ground and going north and south, and he's picking up 5, 6, 7 yards a pop. So, I mean, why not keep doing it until Saline tries to adjust and take that away?
Another first down for the home team. Atherton with time. Incomplete. Tried to shot put a throw to Ditto, and it was a little low.
And that's tough when you get those linemen in your face. And those are things that you got to work at, right? And you got to try to manipulate your arm level. And a quarterback that was fantastic at doing that, Matthew Stafford. He would have a sidearm throw for screens, and he would just find a way to get that ball to the receivers. And Hatherton tries to shot put it. Maybe that was the only angle he had, but just a little bit more power, and he would have got a completion there and maybe some more yards.
Second down, he's running. eluding tacklers a couple of times. And once again, Brighton does a really good job running the quarterback up the middle to make it third down and shorter.
And every time he runs this ball, I keep thinking it's Mason Ditto or Carter Gregg. Man, he's running with force, and he's jump cutting. He's putting his foot in the ground. He's not letting the first guy tackle him. I really, really, really like the way Grant Heatherton's playing today. With him at the helm, they got an opportunity to stick in the game with anybody.
Oh, by the way, this drive doing a pretty good job of keeping the clock rolling and keeping C.J. Carr off the field. Third down, Brighton wants to throw. Heatherton incomplete. Little low, Platt couldn't bring it in. Fourth down.
They get back to the roll pass there. They're on the left hash, right? So Grant Heatherton's got a little bit more room to run. Puts a good ball. I mean, it's right in the hip of Carter Gregg. You like it up in the chest area so he can just catch and turn. But nonetheless, third down, those are catches you got to have. And he just took his eyes off of it. He could feel the pressure coming at him. So big fourth down here. Grant Heatherton's he's tired, man. They're running him a lot. So let's see if they go to him or and they're condensed too. I would watch for crossers here, man, if they're going to throw it.
Brighton bleeding as much clock as they can here, and they're going to burn their second time out of the first half on a play that we will look back upon depending on how it goes. Are you considering the U.S. Navy as enlisted or as an officer? You can learn a little more about the U.S. Navy and your career opportunities within the U.S. Armed Forces. Contact your local U.S. Navy recruiting office at 734-679-1998. All right, Grant, I'm going to give you a dangerous power. You're a Brighton Bulldogs offensive coordinator right now. What you calling?
Well, depends on if they feel comfortable or not coming back out in that condensed formation. Because I know darn well Saline has done their film study. They understand what they're going to try to do here on fourth and short. On tape, Brighton has a play where they condense, right? They bring all their receivers down nice and tight, and then they run just crossing patterns. It's just mayhem, right? And they just try to find the open guy, put it on him, let him do the rest of the work. If I'm Brighton, I'd come back out in a condensed split. I'd throw a crossing route, try to get a guy open, in the middle in front of a linebacker. But they're gonna spread it out here. I'd watch for a tunnel screen or of some sort, maybe another roll. We'll see what they go to.
That line to gain right inside the 29. Fourth down, let's call it 4. Atherton well run. Had to make a man miss. Couldn't make the second miss. Saline rallies to the ball. Pollock makes the tackle. And they make the stop.
Great rally by Saline there. I mean, it's 4th and 4. Grant Heatherton's been running all over you all day. You just got to get him down before he gets the first down. They do a fantastic job there. And he ran a weak side run with the 3 trips to the front side, the play side, strong side. So they were hoping they had an advantage there in the boundary, and they did. They had a numbers. If he could have broken that one tackle, he had at least 7 or 8 more yards. So fantastic tackle there, and way to get off the field if you're Saline's defense.
And now their offense back on the field. The last time they had the ball, they threw a 75-yard touchdown to Woods. Can C.J. Carr pull the pixie dust out again? He'll get it to Woods. This time Brighton is not going to let that happen. As soon as Woods touched the ball, Grant, there were 3 orange jerseys around him.
Yeah, I'm sure after that 70-yard touchdown, they got a little bit of a chew out saying, hey, we were there. We had him tackled. Let's just finish it, right? So Brighton's saying, hey, you're not going to beat us twice with that. They do a great job of adjusting, and they're playing their cornerbacks and their linebackers a little bit closer to the line of scrimmage. And I think that's just because Saline has shown so many screens, so many quick passes. I wouldn't be surprised if they tried Dylan Mesman down here at the top of the screen.
Rolling and looking that way. Deep shot, near side. What a gorgeous pass. Leonard brings it in. That's the type of pass that makes Notre Dame fans salivate. Carr drops it in the bucket.
I mean, just what a throw. I mean, he's rolling to his left, throwing a go route down the sideline. He had the out route open for about 15, 20 yards. You'll see here, he's just going to roll here to the right, to the left. And he's just throwing on the run, sets his hips, turns his shoulders, launches a missile downfield. Great catch by Ladanian there, Woods, that is. And just a very impressive throw by Carr.
That time, Carr was trying to maneuver around the pocket. It closed up real quick on him, and Sean O'Keefe makes the tackle. CJ coming into this year with a lot of confidence. Look, so many in this state think highly of him. Notre Dame commit. The football bloodlines. His dad played at U of M. His grandpa was Lloyd Carr. But CJ had a heck of a way to end last season. Played great against Belleville. There we got a flag. Stops the play.
Yeah.
The numbers for CJ Carr in the playoff loss to Belleville, two-time defending state champs now, and everyone thinks they're going to win it again. CJ last year in his last game against Belleville, 37 for 53 passing, 383 yards, and 5 touchdowns. There wasn't a single guy in Michigan who made Belleville look as bad last year as CJ Carr did.
Yeah, and it reminded me of a Pac-12 showdown. Minimal defense and just two athletic, really good quarterbacks going at it in Underwood and Carr. And it was a really, really good game. It showed me a lot about what Saline's bringing to the table today. And it was a good kind of base because Brighton played Belleville at the end of their season, and so did Saline. So we had a good kind of chemistry film to go off of there and kind of just judge accordingly to that.
Welcome to the Brave New World, by the way. We're referencing something as a Pac-12 game is now a Big Ten game because Oregon-Washington is now a Big Ten game. We'll get used to that eventually. The Lawrence Tech Blue Devil football team kicks off the 2023 season with a home game against Indiana Wesleyan coming up a couple of days on Saturday the 26th. You can watch the game live on TV 20 in Detroit at 7 o'clock. For more info, go to ltuathletics.com. Shout out to Avant Mitchell and that entire team getting ready for the start of their season. If you've never checked out any NAIA football, you really should. It is outstanding level of football. So many great athletes. And Lawrence Tech's conference is littered with the best teams at that level of collegiate football. Do not doubt the level of football at NAIA. If you do it at your own peril. Second down long for Carr. Setting up a screen. It's caught. Rush tackled. Great job by Brighton. All right, smack dab in the middle of the field. That's Luke Whitaker again.
And when they watch this film tomorrow or next week, they're going to give Luke a little bit of praise there because that could have been a touchdown play right there. CJ Carr let it develop. He just tossed it right over the D-line's head, a little bit of halfback delay screen. So really good job there by number 10, the Sam linebacker, Luke Whitaker.
Third down forever. Carr rolling to his right. Now coming back to his left. Cue the circus music. CJ Carr trying to make it happen. Not going to happen. Two Bulldogs bring him down after CJ Carr ran about 60 yards to gain 6.
Yeah, and you get real tired after those plays. I'll tell you that from experience. When you're doing the scramble drill, when the quarterback turns on you and you got to turn and run with them, you start getting out of breath. And then the next play, you're like, okay, we got to do it again. But really good job there by Brighton's defense. Saline runs a motion to trips, and they just run a levels concept. So just 3 guys down the line of scrimmage, 1 high, 1 medium, 1 low. They all get covered up, and CJ Carr does his CJ Carr and tries to make something happen there. Good ball security on that one. I am impressed with that, but it leaves us with a 4th down and about 12 here.
Carr alone in the gun. With time. Gorgeous ball. Catch Fox. First and goal, Saline. Man, if you give CJ Carr that much time, you are asking for problems.
Yeah, you don't want to give a guy with that much talent that much time. And just they ran a great concept there. Brighton's in a cover 4 look where the cornerback's going to take anything that comes outside, and then the safety's going to take anything that comes inside. They do a good job of switch releasing the receivers there, and they get number 11, Cade Fox, from the slot to the sideline, and the cornerback runs with the guy that breaks in. So Cade Fox is wide open down the sideline. That's what the switch release does, and C.J. Carr found him for a really, really good game.
Saline showing a power look for the first time today. About a conventional full house backfield as you'll find in football in 2023, and Brighton elects to call a timeout. The Construction Association of Michigan provides a vast resource array of services, information, and training to our diverse membership within Michigan's construction industry. Go to buildwithcam.com for a little bit more information. You kind of figured first ball game of the year, the timeouts would go pretty quick. Brighton has burned all 3 of the timeouts. When you're watching this game, when you're watching the first couple college games tomorrow, it's week 0. That's 2 days, Saturday. Today's Thursday. I'm all confused already. Anyway, when you're watching the college games, heck, even when you're watching week 1 of the pros, there will be a few wrinkles you got to iron out. Big reason why Brighton's used all the timeouts already.
Yeah, they're going to spread them out here. They're going to get out of that power look. I wouldn't be surprised if C.J. Carr keeps this up the middle or tries to find a man beater here on the outside.
High snap. He brings it down with his right fingertips. And that is way too easy for C.J. Carr.
Isn't C.J. Carr just smooth, man? Yeah. He caught that ball one-handed, Odell style, and just says, you know what, I'll just jog into the end zone. I'll make it look cool. I'll make it look smooth. Watch him here. This could have been a very, very bad play and put him in bad position, but C.J. Carr, the 5-star, does not hesitate. Just catches the ball clean, says, you know what, come get me. I'm right here. Oh, you can't do it because I'm already in the end zone. Really, really good play there by C.J. Carr.
And the underrated thing about that, too, right, is there's the motioning back. So not only do you have to field it with the one arm, but you also got a back coming across you. There's multiple ways that thing could go wrong, but as you say, the man with the smooth buzz cut also pretty darn smooth on that field.
Yeah, about as smooth as that buzz cut he is. Yes, it could have been a handoff, designed handoff. It could have been a read, right? We don't know. The play broke down, but C.J. Carr kept his composure and just said, you know what, I'm going to make this a 3-score game here.
So C.J. runs it in. Saline now up 21-3. Their coaching staff has told a lot of the local media coming into the year about the growth of number 13 in white, C.J. Carr. Year in and year out, it's been remarkable, they say, to watch the way that C.J. Carr has grown. A lot more relaxed, a lot more mature. And with the way he's playing football right now, all those students in the student section, right now they're only getting tans because they're not watching their football team win because C.J. Carr is breaking their hearts a little bit here.
Yeah, breaking their hearts with really, really good football. I know the true football fan out there is, they're like, oh, here comes C.J. Carr. But, you sit back and you're just like, okay, this kid can play. It's going to be a tough day. You knew that from the first drive, and they got to try to find a way to get under C.J. Carr's feathers. Ruffle him up a little bit. If I'm Brighton, man, I'm going to come out this next drive on defense, and I'm going to apply some pressure. I'll give up a 5-yard shallow, but if I'm getting a hit on C.J. Carr, getting the pressure on him, that's where I want to live. I want to make him as uncomfortable as possible.
Carter Gregg coming on the return, and he's submarine before getting to the 20. I'll spot that ball at the 18-yard line as the guys in orange and white come on back out. Next week, Saline will get their home opener under their belt. They're going to play Dexter, then Ann Arbor Pioneer at home week after that. As for Brighton, after this home opener against Saline, they'll take on Salem. There's the rest of the upcoming schedule for Saline as you see it on their screen. That trip to the Kicking Mules, middle of September, always a little tricky. As for Brighton, Salem next week, then Northville, Novi, Canton, and the rest of the KLAA schedule continues on for the Bulldogs right through the middle of October.
Another guy I want to get involved here if I'm Brighton is Sebastian Bouye. Talking to Coach Lemons, he said that he's had one of the best camps out of all the receivers thus far. I wouldn't be surprised if he starts getting a few touches here early on.
It's a run for Greg. Sometimes you wonder how anyone tackles him. He is still not down. That is the most impressive 1-yard run I've ever seen. He broke 5 tackles.
Yeah, impressive. And I've kind of just self-nicknamed him Carter Houdini Greg. I don't know why, but he's just disappearing. You know, it's hard to find him. He's dipping and dodging in the hole. That's a hard run for 1 yard. So good job by him. And, it's better than a loss on the play.
Did you just try and quote dodgeball?
Dip, dodge, duck, dip, dodge, dodge. Yeah, something like that.
Sure. Hey, look, as a wise man once said, if you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
Fair. And rest in peace, Patches O'Houlihan.
Too soon. Still not over it. Atherton on 2nd down and long. Long developing play. Good looking play for the Bulldogs. There he is. Bouye on the catch. There was a late flag well after Sebastian gained enough yards for the first down.
Be interested to see if this is a holding on Brighton. I don't know if it's going to be. We'll see what the refs say here.
Yeah, they're looking at Saline's sideline. Yeah, that's a tough break. Well-designed play with the way they faked to the right and then came back to the left. It's going to end up meaning nothing.
And that's just tough. They got Sebastian a touch there. Sebastian Bouye, number 5, the junior receiver. He does all the work there on that play. Really good job. And the way they designed it, they came to the right, faked that screen, and then came back. They're going to have to keep doing some things like this in order to get Saline off their rocker a little bit and get some yards.
Looks like we have an official's timeout before the play. They're confirming it's 2nd down. I told you, we're all ironing out the kinks week 1. That includes yours truly. It's like an umpire in baseball. Okay, how many strikes? 1, 2. Misdirection on this play. Great tackle in the open field. Hardesty was trying to slip free. And the Saline defensive backfield coming up to chop him down.
Yeah, really good job there. You're taught as a backside cornerback, backside linebacker, you kind of sit in that hole and you wait until that ball declares across the line of scrimmage. Then you take your best angle and you go catch them. Right there, they run a reverse, and they're already home there. So really, really good job. Really good job by Saline there, staying honest and staying true to their assignments. That could have been a really big play there, but Saline was on their game.
3rd down for the Bulldogs. Atherton with a clean pocket. That's a clean throw. And a Bulldog 1st down. The X Factor, Caleb Webb. Somehow the 6'8" tight end disappeared.
Did a fantastic job there getting his depth. A lot of these high school kids were going to try to get to their route and try to get in it as fast as they can so they can get the ball right. But then that messes up the timing. It's a curl route. You got to get your 10 to 12 yards, get past the sticks so that when you catch it, when you come back to the quarterback, you still have the 1st down. Great job by the 6'8" tight end there, Caleb Webb.
Atherton setting up another screen in Carter Gregg's hands again. His ability to make the first 2 men miss every time is kind of remarkable to watch.
It is, man. He is a slippery cat. He does a really good job there, and let's give Grant Heatherton some credit there. He is taking his time and letting these 2 screens develop. He's almost getting sacked 10, 15 yards, but as a quarterback, you're taught, let that defense come to you, dump it over their head, and then you got essentially a kickoff return. You're just looking for angles and holes to hit in, and Carter Gregg does a great job there.
Atherton down the middle, incomplete. He did hit Webb, but he got crunched as he tried to catch the ball, and it ends up being incomplete. Tricky spot here as well. Keep in mind, Brighton is out of timeouts. So with just over 2 minutes to go in this first half, if they get a first down here, at some point, Grant, they got to start thinking about how do we attack this scenario and start hurrying up, no timeouts.
Yeah, and that's what summer camp's for. That's what the 7-on-7's for. It's to get these plays that you have for 2 minutes, right? You have to have the best plays that you know that everyone's comfortable running, and they're going to run another screen here to Caleb Webb.
Caleb Webb, yeah, he's down. Ball came out when he was down. That's a first down for Brighton. Clearly the attack plan is, when in doubt, throw a screen because it keeps working. Yeah,
and they're doing a really good job, though. Brighton is, and I got to give them credit. They're running the same plays that they've been running, from the first quarter, but they're dressing them differently, right? They're getting different guys involved and putting them in different places. So really good job by the OC and Brighton here.
If you don't know the name Caleb Webb by now, you're going to have to start learning it, because on this drive they keep throwing to the big guy and he keeps catching the ball.
You think Dylan Mesman on the other sidelines like, hey, CJ, that's like 3 catches in a row for their tight end. What about me?
It's almost like you played college football, Grant, and you know what goes on the sideline. Did you ever do that to your quarterback? Be honest.
You take notice, but no, you got to respect their reads and you got to respect their what they do with the ball, because you're not back there with them. It's a hard position to play. You got to have your timing down. And there's really no favoritism in football. You got guys that have advantages. You got guys that maybe don't have the advantage. But you got to just follow the plays, run the plays how the coaches want them, and trust the system and the offense.
Pollock just tackled Heatherton. No gain. Now it's second down. Coming up on a minute to go, first half. Given the time, got it caught. Back shoulder to Braden Platt, and Brighton is moving in the shadow of the red zone.
Fantastic job there. I don't know if they're going to replay this one, but they just ran a corner hitch, right? Saline showing a too-high look, two safeties high. They got half the field deep. They run a corner route right to the sideline, and they get it to Braden Platt there for a big first down. And now Brighton's running here, and they got a little bit of momentum. They could really use a score here, a full 6 to 7 points on this drive.
Heatherton's got the time again. Rolling and tucking. He's tackled by 3 different Hornets. A couple of tackles on this drive for Pollock. And now here we go. It gets interesting. No timeouts. Clock ticking.
You got to get to the line of scrimmage. We called it Peter at Michigan. You got to get to the line of scrimmage. Peter. Snap it. Everyone on the line of scrimmage and move to the next play.
Crowd's yelling because they forgot to stop the clock on the spike. It should be about 37 seconds.
I promise I'm not doing the clock. I'm just talking.
If you were calling the game and doing the clock at the same time, they're not paying you enough, my friend. They're just not. All right, coming up at half, we're going to give you our first top 10 in the Mr. Football and Anvil Awards, delivered by Hungry Howie's. And also, Alan True is coming in from 24/7 Sports for our first recruit report. Stay right here on Game Time Live at the half. What will the score be at half? That is still a question. Brighton is in Saline's red zone, but a tricky spot on third down.
Yeah, tricky spot. You don't have to get the first down here, but you got to keep in mind, you got to have your second play ready, right? If you don't get the first down, it's fourth down, so you got to have a play that gets you to the sticks and then get you a play that gets within the time frame, right? They got 32 seconds. It'll be about a 10-second runoff here on this play, and then hopefully they can get a few more in here if they manage the time right.
Atherton stepping up, looking to the end zone. Incomplete. Tried to slip it into Carter Gregg, and he just short hopped him.
And that was a little bit of a halfback rail, a wheel, if you will, to Carter Gregg. And he had him right, a little bit more air. Just throw it to the back pylon. That safety or linebacker that's sitting there in that hole that almost got his hands on it isn't in a position to cover him, right? He could have, lofted it a little bit higher, gave him a little bit more air, and I think they would have saw 6 there. But they got their money kicker, Braden Childs, coming on here to try to give him 3 more here.
He's already made from about 40 yards tonight. This one from right around 35. Good snap and good hold again. Someone get Braden Childs a tough break, because that one just slid wide of the goalposts. Knocked the first one through pretty darn confidently, but a frustrating situation here for Brighton. This is going to be one of those deals, Grant, if it is 21-3 at half, it's one of those things where you go in the locker room if you're Brighton and you think, this is not a 21-3 game. We've been hanging all night.
Yeah, and one big takeaway is the explosive play by LaDainian Woods, right? That one play really changed the dynamic of the score, right? It was 14-3, and then you blink your eyes, it's 21-3 off of one play with 8 seconds left in the first quarter, right? So they could have avoided all that with just a tackle. But, I mean, the scoreboard really isn't a representation of what Brighton's doing. They're sticking in this, man. They just got to find the right plays to keep them in the game here in this second half.
CJ Carl take a knee. Brighton will get the ball to start the second half, by the way, so all hope not lost here. Officials making sure those final couple of seconds bleed down and get us to halftime. You know, I'd wonder if Marcus Freeman is watching this game. His potential future starting quarterback is in it, but they're in Ireland right now. I think Marcus is getting a little beauty sleep. For any Notre Dame football fans watching this game, CJ Carr sure looking the part. First half into his senior season of ball with Saline, and the Hornets are rolling 2 quarters in to this football season in Michigan. Saline led by one of the better head coaches in the state of Michigan, Joe Palka, in his 12th season with the Saline Hornets. And he's standing by on the field with Elizabeth Coombe.
Hey guys, we're here with Coach Pelka. Have some really big explosive plays in the first quarter, including that touchdown with 8 seconds left. What kind of momentum does that bring heading into the second half?
Well, I mean, I think, I thought they gained a little momentum, and then we came back with a one-play score. That's pretty deflating to the other team. It's a hot night. Everybody's got to probably do a little bit better job of communicating. We want to maintain drives, but we'll take the points however they come. If it's a one play, it's a one play.
Absolutely. And what adjustments do you want to see going into the second half?
Well, I mean, I think we're doing a pretty solid job on defense. The quarterback run has hurt us a little bit. We're playing deep. We just have to do a better job probably rallying to the screen. And then, we want to be able to run the ball a little bit better in the second half and not put all the pressure on CJ.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's the energy been like, with this group? Are there any first game nerves? What's it been like?
Well, if we had them, I think they're gone by now. Yeah, there's a lot of first-time players in this group. You could see it, a lot of jitters, and, hopefully that's corrected down. Everybody's ready to just play football.
Yeah, thanks, Coach. Good luck with the second half. Guys, we'll be right back with the second half, so stick with us.
At Hungry Howie's, we're famous for flavor, and this is our Chief Flavor Officer. Every hour of every day, our CFO obsesses over the tastiest ingredients, combining them to create new flavor combinations your taste buds never knew they needed. Until now. Introducing his latest master pizza, the Bee Sting. Hot honey drizzle, classic cut pepperoni, and spicy jalapenos, or any 2 toppings. And our famous flavored crust. It's all the buzz.
Hungry Howie's!
At Alto Equipment, we know when it comes to getting your job completed on budget and on schedule, uptime matters. Alto Equipment has partnered with the biggest names in construction, including Volvo, Leeboy, Bogan, Avant, ASV, and more to provide the state of Michigan with industry-leading service and support. Alto Equipment services all makes and models, and their technicians are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Do you have a big project? Alta Rents has you covered with the most diverse rental fleet in Michigan. Give them a call at 844-GO-TO-ALTA today.
Every high school sporting event in the state of Michigan has one thing in common: officials. Every game, every meet, every match. Without officials, there'd be no touchdowns, no three-pointers, no face-offs. Without officials, there'd be no games. Officiating is a great way to give back to your community and stay involved with the sports you love. And officials are needed now more than ever, because without officials, it's just practice.
Ladies and gentlemen, if it is the fall and you happen to see me, Lauren Plant, alongside this guy, Sean Belizean, well, then you know one thing. It's time to update the state champs Mr. Football race. Sean, it is so good to see you. We have been doing this for so long. I can't believe we're here.
It's awesome. And you know what? I love our location. What are the chances of us being out on the field here at this beautiful LTU stadium every single week? We are fired up. Kickoff is coming this weekend. Boy, it seemed like a long off season, but you know what? After many weeks of deliberation, and I'm not joking, many weeks of deliberation, we've got our first top 10.
Absolutely. This is always the time of year that we get the most excited as we introduce our first top 10. Have to say that State Champs Mr. Football Award is presented by Hungry Howie's. 50 years they've been making pies in Michigan. So we love Hungry Howie's. Thank you so much for the support you have given State Champs for all these many years. So the State Champs Mr. Football Award is one of the most special awards in the state. It is something that the fans have an opportunity to weigh in on a weekly basis, and also we're going to give you our breakdowns of players throughout the course of the season. Previous winners of this award include Brother Rice quarterback Alex Malzone, Walled Lake Western's QB and wide receiver Cody White, West Bloomfield running back Donovan Edwards, Detroit Kings quarterback Dante Moore, and of course last year's winner Warren De La Salle quarterback Brady Drogosh. Just those names alone, as the fans are now looking at the current crop of top 10 as we begin this season, they're in good company.
There is so much talent in this state. I mean, there has been an explosion, in my opinion, in the last decade in this state. And Michigan is getting a reputation across the entire nation. And just take a look at this list. Now, we always say this. If you are new to this, we've been doing this for a while. This is our list right now. To say that this list is fluid would be a great understatement. We could see multiple guys pop in and conversely see multiple guys pop out. Let's make no mistake about it. I think people not only in Michigan but all around the nation are talking about Bryce Underwood. So going into the season, he is the favorite. I don't think there's anything wrong with saying that.
Absolutely.
There's no guarantees. Somebody else could supplant him on this list. That's how crazy it is. And again, it goes back to the caliber of players in the state. Quite frankly, Lauren, the caliber of coaching in this state. You know, the ability to coach these guys up and get the best out of them. But right now, we feel really good about this list. But we say it all the time, changes will be coming. That is not an if. That is just a question of when changes will be coming.
Absolutely. Got a lot of seniors on this list right now. We do have some juniors, of course, Bryce Underwood leading the way, and a sophomore in CJ Sadler. So this is an award that doesn't just go to a senior. This is something we spread out throughout. We want to find the best skilled football player in the state, no matter who that is.
Well, and that's exactly it. And you know what? What you did last year doesn't have a great bearing. I mean, we were talking before we started taping. Hey, we had a guy that won back in 2021. So you would think, oh my goodness, it's a given that he's going to win in 2022. Doesn't work out that way. You can have a fantastic season, even as a returning champion, so to speak, and still find yourself being supplanted. We have a process. We talk about the process all year. You will see the process in action where we all sit around and we weigh our criteria and have a discussion amongst ourselves. But right now, to start off this season, we feel really good about this top 10 to get the ball rolling.
Absolutely. Let me fire one last question at you. What do you feel is the most important thing people should know about this competition and how we weed out who stays in the competition, who might find themselves on the outside looking in despite their status as a high-level recruit? Guys, we invite you to join us week to week on our high school Heisman race here in the state of Michigan. We call it State Champs Mr. Football, presented by Hungry Howie's. He's Sean, I'm Lauren, and we'll see you next week.
Do you know the biggest difference between a pickup game and organized high school sports? The answer is obvious. It's officials. School sports is more than just kicking a ball or running fast. They're an extension of a student's education and the classroom. An official can help teach the importance of following the rules, impartiality, and most importantly, fairness.
Captain of the football team, correct? Represents leadership and sportsmanship, right? You guys set the good examples for your fellow teammates, okay? All right, we have a problem with one of your fellow teammates. We'll come and ask you to take care of the problem, okay?
But the need for officials has never been greater. There are some benefits to becoming an official, like staying in shape, staying involved in the sports you played as a young person, networking, And of course, you can earn some pretty good extra money while doing all of that. It's easy to sign up. Just go to mhsaa.com/officials and click register now. Now is a great time for you to get involved in your community and give something back to our kids. There's help wanted. We need you to whistle. For more information, visit our website at mhsaa.com.
Well, hey guys, every week as part of our State Champs Extra Point coverage, we're bringing back 24/7 sports analyst and the guru, I said it, of Midwest football recruiting, and I feel very comfortable saying that again. Just like old times, Alan True back on State Champs. Thrilled to have you back, my friend.
Yeah, happy to be back, and happy to be back with high school football right around the corner.
Let's have you talk about the five-star junior QB at Belleville. Quarterback Bryce Underwood is now a defending state champion. He is the current favorite as we head into the Mr. Football competition as we start the year. Top recruit in the state. From a national perspective, Dante Moore dominated the state of Michigan headlines for the past couple of years. How does Bryce compare to where Dante was at this point heading into his junior campaign?
Yeah, I think he's right there. I think he's really, he's won 2 state titles his freshman and sophomore year, won Max Preps Player of the Year twice, numerous accolades. And to be honest, Dante had not done that yet at this point. Now, Dante he was a top 5 quarterback prospect in the country, top 5 overall, prospect in the country, and was recruited by essentially everybody. Bryce is already there. And so I think those two are going to go down as 2 historic quarterback recruits, but I think Bryce is even a little bit ahead of where Dante was at this time. Now, Dante did have to fight through a COVID year, which is going to make things a little bit different when we look back at his high school career, but I don't know that we've had a recruit come through the state of Michigan or the Midwest. I can't really speak for the entire country, but I'm sure there haven't been many who have accomplished the things that Bryce Underwood has through 2 seasons.
What schools are in the Bryce Underwood sweepstakes?
Well, they all want him. He's coveted by every school in the country. And I will say this, if we were talking coming into his junior year about Dante Moore, we wouldn't have even mentioned UCLA. So a lot can change over the next 2 years. I think at the moment, LSU and Michigan have the best opportunity. And those are the 2 schools he visited at the end of July. And so they always say in recruiting, follow the visits. And so those 2 being the 2 that he chose to use that last week of July, which recruits only get a sliver there at the end of summer to visit schools before 2-a-days start. And he chose Michigan and LSU. So I think those 2 schools are in the best position at the moment, but we know a lot can change over the next 2 years. But the LSU Tigers and Michigan Wolverines have done a really good job recruiting Bryce Underwood to this point. But look out for Alabama, look out for Georgia, look out for Ohio State, look out for USC. Look out, he's going to stay open to the entire country, but I do think he'll shut things down sometime in the winter. I would think after Christmas, looking into the early part of January is when he's talked about making a decision.
Well, there you go. Can't tell you what a pleasure it is to have you back on the State Champs airwaves. Enjoy the games this weekend. I know we'll have a lot to talk about next week.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Lauren. Looking forward to a great season.
All right, Alan. Thank you. Coming to you from Blue Devil Stadium on the campus of Lawrence Technological University. I can't believe I'm saying this, but it's time to start talking high school football again. State Champs is back on the air, and the State Champs Anvil Award is back once again for another season of incredible competition as we try to see who is the top lineman or linebacker in the state. I have to say this award is presented by Hungry Howie's. They are celebrating 50 years as a company. I can't say enough about how much Hungry Howie's has supported State Champs and most specifically our football coverage. We truly appreciate everything they've done for State Champs. I am joined by former Canton head coach and Michigan football coaches, high school Hall of Famer Tim Beckler for another round. Tim, we've been doing this for years now together. How much do you look forward to this?
I love this. I mean, you get to watch great players, but you get to watch great coaches and great teams. I love watching film on these kids and talking about them. And I can't wait to see how it pans out the whole year.
Yeah, and it's Michigan has such a great tradition of linebackers who come out of the high school ranks here in the Wolverine State. And, it's only been the last several years we've had a chance to shine this kind of spotlight on them. Hey, previous winners of this award include Clarkston's Rocco Spindler, Chippewa Valley linebacker Marcel Lewis, Traverse City Central's All-Everything Josh Burnham, and last year's winner from Cass Tech, Jalen Thompson, just to name a few. So as you see on your screen now, this is our initial top 10. Now what this is a lot of times haven't had an opportunity to see him so much on the field this season, so this list may change over the first couple of weeks, but this is our initial list. Of course, we've got a couple West Bloomfield guys back into the competition this year. Brandon Davis Swain and Kari Jackson both spent time. Lots of seniors in this group. We do have some juniors as well. Tim, these guys are so talented, right? Top to bottom. In your mind, what really separates a great high school lineman or linebacker from an elite top-tier talent that's worthy of winning the Anvil?
Well, when you talk about offensive linemen, it's the guy who can do two things. Pass blocking is a tremendous skill. I would say it's one of the hardest skills in football, and I don't think they get the respect needed for that. So they've got to be that. And when we're talking about a great run blocker, they've got to dominate. They need to put people on their back. They need to move people, and they got to do it in a construct of the offense. They've got to be able to drive people and come off to the second level and just play every single play. They don't take plays off. Defensive linemen, same thing. They cannot be single blocked. They've got to be able to get off blocks, pursue the ball, and get to the ball. Linebackers, now we're talking about pass rush. We're talking about pass drops, and then just absolute great tacklers, and they blow ball carriers up when they get there. They stand out. The great ones are natural. They just naturally get off blocks, avoid blocks, and that's the kind of stuff we're looking for.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's a difficult challenge that is before us every year on who is going to eventually win this award and how we whittle it down to 4. But I will tell you this, one of the ways that you get involved is through voting, and that is going to begin next week. So basically the way that we go through this each and every week, especially at the end of the season, is we have a criteria that we follow. We really feel we've fleshed this out enough that it really makes a difference when it comes down the end when you line them up in the individual categories.
Exactly, and what really is telling is when we see good against good. And that means getting to that third, fourth round of the playoffs when you've got matchups that are like, okay, the rubber is going to hit the road this week. And we really get to see how those players shine against great other players,
Absolutely. We're going to look forward to bringing this to you each and every week. He is Tim Beckler. I'm Lauren Plant. We'll see you next time for another update in this year's State Champs Anvil Award.
From our very first breath, curiosity is why we question everything through barrages of whys and how comes. It now needs the tools to will its vision into existence. Tools that will forever allow curiosity to obscure the line between technology and magic. Be curious. Make magic. Lawrence Technological University.
I said I'd never join. Then I wouldn't get to work on one of these.
Never knew how strong I was.
I figured I'd never get out of my hometown. Or be the one who stops an attack.
Joining the Navy sounds crazy. Saying never actually is.
At Hungry Howie's, we're famous for flavor, and this is our Chief Flavor Officer. Every hour of every day, our CFO obsesses over the tastiest ingredients, combining them to create new flavor combinations your taste buds never knew they needed. Until now. Introducing his latest master pizza, the Bee Sting. Hot honey drizzle, classic cup pepperoni, and spicy jalapenos, or any 2 toppings. And our famous flavored crust. It's all the buzz.
Hungry Howie's!
Welcome back to Brighton High. First half down and many halves of football to go in this 2023 MHSA football season. Heck of a start for one of the better players our state has seen in a long time. C.J. Carr and the Saline Hornets up 21-3 as we're about to start the second half. Evan Stockton, Grant Perry back alongside the rest of our crew. Glad you're making a little time for us wherever you are. Thursday, August 24th, one of those warm, humid Midwest nights. Granted, it's hard not to heat up. It's hard not to be excited watching C.J. Carr and the Saline offense. They look darn good in the first half.
Yeah, they do look really good. And they've still only showed maybe 50% of what I saw in film last year. They got a lot of plays that they're still sitting on. Right now they're cruising in the lead, so they don't really need to show everything at this moment. But, they're doing well with what they've done so far. And Brighton here, thankfully they're getting the ball to start. You got to have a good drive if you're Brighton here. You got to switch this momentum a little bit, take some of that fire and hit some guys in the mouth.
Brzezinski on the return. Brighton hoping for a little spark, but just a crunch on special teams. Say hello in the middle of the field to Isaiah Harris. Elizabeth Kuhn standing on the sideline. She just chatted with the Brighton coaching staff. Liz, what'd you find out?
Hey guys, I talked to Coach Lemons coming out of halftime, and he just said we need to play with more confidence. He said a lot of players are playing really timid right now, afraid of making mistakes, especially some of those younger players. He said just go out. Nobody's going to remember what you did, so just go out with confidence and get it done this second half. He's really confident in his team. So guys, back to you.
Appreciate that. That is interesting, right? You'd have to imagine a little bit of pressure for this Brighton team. They're not just opening the season up at home, they're also opening the season up at home against this quarterback that everyone keeps talking about. You'd have to imagine there's a little pressure.
Yeah, there's pressure for sure. And let's see how Brighton responds here with this first drive.
First time they've run a stretch run to the right side. That's Braden Platt for a gain of a few on first down. And they did show that action a couple of times in the first, but they never gave it.
Expect Brighton to kind of, dial in some new things, try to make things look different. They're going to stick to what they know, right? They're going to stick to the short game, the roll passes, the screens, the quick hitters. But expect and anticipate that they try to make it look different, to try to, add a little bit of flair and try to find a spark here in this second half.
Greg will join Heatherton, left side of the gun. He'll throw to the right side. And it's caught. Tiptoeing across the 35. That's Hardesty. Third down short coming.
And, right there, that's second down and about 7-6 yards. What do? You go jailbreak screen to the right. Jailbreak screen, you got your linemen involved. The linemen are moving. You don't want to get in front of one of those linemen downfield when they got a head-on shot at you. So good call there because it makes it a 3rd and 2 here. Now, Grant Heatherton's got a little bit of a breather here at halftime. I wouldn't be surprised if they dial number 9's number again.
There he is. Had to make a couple of guys miss. There's a late flag. He was short of the first down. And this brings up an interesting decision. If it is a hold, does Saline decline the penalty or take the penalty and make it a 3rd down and really long?
That's the coaches right now are talking on the headset like, hey, what do you got here? You like a play here? Oh, well, you got a face mask, so it's they got one there.
Remember earlier when I said everyone's got to iron out the kinks game 1 of the year? I've got to remember that you can never assume because while I just assumed it was a hold, it was a face mask.
Yeah. And Brighton will take that happily. They're moving the chains, and then they get to midfield. They get a little bit more cushion to open up that playbook here. I'd expect them to stick with what they know, right? The quick hitters, the screens, the quarterback on the move, the runs up the middle, and just everything that they've been doing well so far.
Heatherton throws. Greg makes the catch. Even when they find a way to tackle him with the first guy, he still falls forward for a few yards. Credit to Burton making the tackle. But Carter Gregg at 5'7", 165 is a living bowling ball out there.
Yeah, he is. He plays bigger than he is. He's really quick, and he's hard to bring down, obviously, as we said so much today. Really good job there falling forward. Those 2-yard runs don't look pretty, but when you fall forward, the coaches appreciate that so much. So good job there by Carter Gregg, getting as much as he could.
Snap by Heatherton. This is a broken play. And Saline rallying to the football, make sure that there's no pixie dust on the play. Low snap, and it's going to be 3rd down and a mile.
And you got to respect what Grant Heatherton tried to do there. He tried to make something out of nothing, snaps over his head. He knows the pressure's coming. And those are drills you work in on practice, right? You have a coach just throw a ball behind the line of scrimmage, and you have your quarterback go pick it up, get his eyes back, and you got to try to get outside the pocket and throw it away. You got to try to get it away to avoid that big loss there. But, Grant Heatherton tried to do the right thing and try to run it, rather than throwing it to a Saline defender.
Saline bringing pressure. And it's incomplete. Ditto out of the backfield. It didn't even see the ball. His reaction, poor guy is looking around going, you got to give me a shot.
And that's just that's numbers in football, right? They brought 2 linebackers, right? You got 5 linemen protecting, right? So you got 7 people coming. You don't have enough time to block everybody. So Grant Heatherton does the right thing, and that just takes rhythm. It takes time. And in game 1, it's hard to do. But what you're supposed to do there is you have to know that blitz is coming, and you got to get your eyes around quick. You're going to be the answer for the blitz there. And Ditto and Heatherton just weren't on the same page there. Heatherton, that's a good throw, though, by him. Way to get it to where he needs to, and just a little bit better timing, and they'll have that one.
Heatherton also punts in his free time, and they'll down this one right around the 20. Pretty good punt. So this is one of those times, Grant, where it becomes game within the game in football. First drive of the second half for Saline, just under 9 minutes to go, 3rd quarter. Yes, you want to drive down the field. Yes, you want to score a touchdown if you're C.J. Carr in that entire offense. But you also want to kill a bunch of time here and don't allow that Brighton comeback attempt to potentially gain any steam.
Yeah, and if you're Saline here, like you heard Coach Joe Plaka saying, we want to get back to the run a little bit, and we want to kind of run this clock down, right? You don't want to have your quarterback making any decisions that you wouldn't want him making, right? You want to play smart football from here on out. You got a big lead, and they could really start turning the tables here if they have a good drive.
First down, Carr. Lob to Messman, knocked away. Physical play, and Braden Carruthers, who's given up a lot of size to that tight end, made the play.
Yeah, and I'm surprised that this is their first attempt at a fade in the boundary to number 5, Dylan Mesman. You'd think that they'd have 3 of those by now with his size, his stature, his frame versus these cornerbacks. Braden Carruthers is coming in at 5'9", 150 pounds, but the one thing you can't measure is his heart, and he played it perfectly there. Was in phase, in his hip, got a hand up. Really, really good defense there on the Louisville commit, Dylan Mesman.
Where do they go on second down? It's a give to Rush for not very much. 3rd down coming. Rush had the touchdown on the first drive of the game for Saline, but we haven't seen him a lot since.
For you viewers at home, I don't know if you've paid attention and seen what I've seen, but both of these defenses, Saline and Brighton, they're coming out in different looks. You notice Saline's got Mitchell Rosinski, number 11, just in the middle of the field playing center field. You know a little something about center field, don't you?
I do.
And he's just a free safety. They're playing man coverage underneath, trying to take away those easy hitters. That big play to Lindanian Woods could have been all avoided if they were in a tight man coverage.
3rd down, 6. Carr given time. Now he's got to roll to the right. Motioning for someone to come back to the ball. Stops. Lofts. Down the field. Caught. Diving catch. Jaden Leonard. C.J. Carr, a magical play.
Magical play it is. And when you get C.J. Carr outside the pocket and you give him time to decide, hey, you know what? He can orchestrate. Hey, you go back, get across the field. He's seeing things that the defenders can't pick up on as fast. Fantastic job by Carr right there, and I'm really impressed with his decision-making when he's on the run, right? Sometimes you don't want your quarterback tailing back towards your own end zone, but C.J. Carr makes a good throw there, sets his feet, doesn't force anything, and that's a big first down there on 3rd down. And who does he find? Jaden Leonard. Really, really good catch. And a good completion.
Man, that is one of those plays as a defense that just sucks the life out of you. If this sticky and warm weather wasn't already making them tired, C.J. Carr is mentally draining the Brighton defense with throws like that.
And those are just those are plays you can't practice, right? You can't simulate a quarterback in C.J. Carr. You can't simulate receivers, having that same chemistry, understanding, hey, if he gets to the sideline and he rolls back to the other side, I got to mirror him and go with him. And that's really hard. That's playground football in a nutshell. And C.J. Carr plays really, really good playground football. Last season got into a little bit of trouble when he was turning it over, trying to make something out of nothing. But so far today in his senior campaign, he is looking fresh, sharp, and good.
Here's Rush. This is a fresh, sharp, and good run. Out of bounds inside the 25.
Indeed it is. Saline, they're going to take every advantage they can get into the boundary. They're running a little counter to the boundary, right? Just setting James Rush up with a nice, easy handoff. You got 2 pullers coming around, and that's just a really good play there. And one thing coming into this game I wanted to see how is Brighton going to hold the edge. Are they going to hold it? Are they going to contain? Because versus Belleville, they had a little bit of an issue with it. And right now, they're struggling a little bit containing the edge to the boundary. So let's see if they can adjust and fix it here.
Carr throwing. Catch Fox. Got around the edge. Flag is down as he's out of bounds inside the 10. Got to check that flag. This is the side effect, right, of some of those longer developing plays. There then become multiple ways that the play can go wrong.
You are right about that. And, before the penalty, just – If you saw the way C.J. Carr just took a quick drop step and just hit his receiver in stride, right? Cade Fox, number 11, just in the flat route, ready with his eyes back to the quarterback saying, hey, I'm open, get it to me. Does a fantastic job there and then lets him turn upfield and almost score that. And this looks like, it's going to go against Saline, I think. But nonetheless, that was a great throw and great catch.
Yeah, they did call a hold on Saline, so that will back him up. In case you're just joining us on this Thursday night, thanks for hanging. Whether you're watching with us online, whether you're listening on WJR, driving around tonight, thanks for joining us. Week 1 of the high school football season. That man, C.J. Carr, number 13 in blue and white, is not disappointed. The coaching staff for Saline freely admits that C.J. is going to have to win some games for us this year if we want to get to where we want to go. They're hoping to make it to Ford Field Thanksgiving weekend. Friendly reminder for you, the high school state finals look different this year because Michigan State and Penn State are playing on a Friday night at Ford Field, so Saturday, Sunday this year. But we got a long time until then, and we'll worry about that later. Carr with time. Mesman, the catch. He's shy of the goal line, down at the 1. They're starting to feed the big man.
Yeah, they are. He said, hey, I see Caleb Webb, number 84 for Brighton, getting catches. Hey, CJ, I want some too. And that was just another man coverage look. One high safety. Everyone's tight on their defender. And CJ Carr understands that if he can throw a back shoulder fade versus a cornerback that doesn't have his eyes turned, it's a completion 8 times out of 10, especially to a big body receiver like Dylan Mesman.
First carry of the game for Isaiah Harris, and that's a heck of a first carry. A Saline touchdown. And in game number 1 of the year, this Hornet offense is rolling like a well-oiled machine.
Fantastic job here. I mean, they're on the 1-yard line. Who wants it more, right? And they put in their fridge. All you Chicago Bear fans out there, they're putting their D lineman at running back saying, hey, come tackle me. I'll take you all day on the goal line. And, I mean, he didn't get touched until he was in the end zone. So I think, I could have walked in there, but nonetheless, really good play. I like how they get a D lineman in there, a bigger body on the goal line. That's creative by the offense, and that was just an orchestrated drive that really was started on C.J. Carr's rollout, where he throws it across the field. It could have been a nightmare, but 9 times out of 10, when you got a 5-star commit to Notre Dame, it's going to end well.
I don't want to overlook the fact that this is a broadcast based in Metro Detroit, and you just made a Chicago Bears reference.
Yeah,
what are you doing?
Football is football. It's a language that everyone understands. I should have thrown a Lions in there. Maybe Penny Sewell
there you go.
Running the ball on the goal line wouldn't be a bad look, but I apologize for that for all my Detroit lovers out there. I do love Detroit myself, so I will calm down the Chicago talk.
Anywho, Alta Equipment knows that when it's time to come to getting your job done, completed on budget and on schedule, uptime matters. So Alta Equipment partners with the biggest names in construction. With industry-leading service and support, you can give them a call, 844-GO-TO-ALTA. 28-0 Saline. If you've just flipped on the game, this is one of those scores that's deceiving. Brighton has had multiple drives into Saline territory, but it's fizzled out on them. Mitchell Ruzinski, been a busy man on the return. Dropped it, picked it up, and he got tackled. The guy who just scored the touchdown, Isaiah Harris, just made the tackle. Apparently he must be involved on every play.
He's showing up everywhere. That's what you want out of your players. When they can play two ways for you, that adds so much to your formula, your offensive and defensive formula. Having guys that are Swiss Army knives that aren't afraid to go both ways, and it's hard, man. When I was in high school, I couldn't play both ways. The heat, the cramping, it's tough, man. So really good on both teams. And so far here today, I haven't seen too much cramping. It looks like Mitchell might be cramping there, might be our first cramp. But, it looks like everyone's hydrated. Everyone's out here playing tough, physical football. And let's talk about Saline's defense here real quick. We were showed a few blitzes on the last drive. I mean, the first half, they blitzed maybe once or twice. That last drive, they blitzed 3 to 4 times. I think that's going to be their answer for kind of plugging the middle when Grant Heatherton's got the ball and kind of just taking away Grant Heatherton's time back there trying to throw the ball. So look for the linebackers to blitz. You might see a safety creep up there. But really good job so far by Saline on defense, and Brighton's got to get something going here.
They'll swing it out, first down. It's Carter Gregg. Room to the boundary and tackled right around the 20.
Now this is the territory too. Your back's against the wall. 6 minutes left in the third quarter. You've shown bubble screen. You've shown tunnel screen. You've shown halfback screen. I wouldn't be surprised. Now I'm not saying this next play. But eventually here, they might go bubble, screen, and go, right? They might try to say, hey, fake the bubble. We're throwing a go right behind you because they need a little spark here. They need a little creativity to get the ball moving.
Atherton throws. Got it caught again. A Saline sandwich brings Platt down. Malik Eisman, one of the men in there making the tackle for the Hornets. Good game, though, for Brighton. Third down short.
Helping the chains, man. Make it manageable. It's tough. Those roll passes, you're taught as a receiver, you got to keep running, right? Run with the quarterback. But when you get zone coverage and you're running an out route, usually you like to sit it down in a nice zone window. But it's hard there. You can't do those on the roll passes. But, to avoid the hit, that's what you got to kind of try to do, trying to throttle those feet because there's a guy outside trying to come for you.
Third down, Atherton on the roll. That's been Brighton's most successful play all day. Get Grant in space and let him make a little magic.
Mm-hmm. And speaking with Coach Lemons this week, I mean, he was very truthful. He said Grant Heatherton's going to be a big part of our offense. And, I mean, he's been, the majority of it, right? The majority of the success. Him, Carter Gregg are having a good day. Caleb Webb as well. But, Grant Heatherton's kind of got the guys on his back right now, and he's got to put together a good drive here.
They'll give it off on first down. Trying to attack the middle of that Saline defensive line. Not a whole heck of a lot of room for Mason Ditto. Mason only carried the ball 5 times last year. Grant, he's going to carry it more than 5 times this year.
That's a safe bet for sure, and especially he's your power back too. When they get in goal line sets, I wouldn't be surprised if he's the featured back down there.
Quick throw and complete. And a couple of guys crossing over the middle and went right in between the both of them.
That's tough. He had a guy in his lap. Grant Heatherton had a guy in his lap. He had pressure in his face. They were in condensed splits, right? So that tells you one of two things. It's either going to be crossers or it's going to be some type of out to the sideline type of routes, like a corner route or a flat route. And they try to get a cross route over the middle, and Grant Heatherton kind of just throws it off his back foot. If he plants and throws and maybe takes a hit, they might complete it. But nonetheless, here we go. We got a long third down.
Setting up a screen and complete. Little bubble screen to the left side for Ditto, who bobbled and dropped it. You don't want to oversimplify things, I guess, Grant, but When you look at the running backs for Brighton, Greg is 5'7", ditto, listed at 6 feet. The wide receivers 5'9", 5'8". Doesn't it feel like that's kind of the reason they're running all these screens? They're trying to hide guys and get them a little room to run?
Yeah, they're trying to do that. And another facet to that is, what can we give Grant Heatherton that he's comfortable with, right? Right now, he doesn't have a ton of time to throw downfield. He doesn't have, like you said, he's got a couple running backs that can really, make things shake. But he's got to try to find plays that are within his system. And hopefully he can do something here with it.
That's a bad snap, and Saline is going to sandwich Heatherton. You can get those types of plays in week 1 of the year, and Saline's going to start inside the 10.
This right here, this moment, 4 minutes and 29 seconds, 28-3. Both coaches on each sideline right now, this is where they are going to be able to judge what kind of heart, what kind of character, what kind of motivation each of these players has, right? There's going to be some players that quit. There's going to be some players that shake their head and mope off the field. But their coaches are looking for the guys that just keep going, keep hustling, keep grinding. Whether it's 28-3 or 28-28. Both teams here are going to try to find something that it puts them in the game or it pulls them away from the game.
Give to Rush. He's already got 1 touchdown tonight. Make it 2. The sophomore running back, James Rush, scored 1 touchdown all of last year. It has taken him 3 quarters this year to score twice.
Right here, we just got a little bit of a halfback dive, a little bit of a halfback power. You're just going to give it to James Rush and let him do the rest of the work. It's a power. They got a pulling guard. He's just going to get in the middle and just do the rest of the work. I don't mean to bring up Brother Rice here, but he reminds me a lot of my old teammate. I was a lot younger. I was a freshman when he was a senior, but Devin Church. He went on to play at Northern Illinois, had a good career. He's just real jumpy, real good, real decisive, not really spending a lot of time at the line of scrimmage, always moving forward as a running back, and that's what you want. And he's going to have a great year with Saline in this schematic scheme offense, and they're looking good so far here today, that's for sure.
Grant, you were always allowed to bring up Brother Rice, but we're just going to set the limit at 3 a game, okay?
All right. Is that 2? I got 2 more? Or?
I think you got 2 more.
We'll go 1, maybe.
All right. Be careful. Saline off to this big-time lead over Brighton. Gorgeous campus. Still less than 2 decades old. Just under 1,700 at that campus that is hoping to bring another state championship back home in 3 months. You don't want to jump to conclusions 1 game in. But, Grant, with the way that Saline has had a balanced attack offensively and the things they've shown defensively, there's some folks who are going to look at this score and go, all right, they're legit.
Mm-hmm. Yep, you got that right on the nose right there. They're playing really good ball. They're not turning the ball over. They're playing complementary football, which means the defense is doing well, and they're helping the offense. And the offense is doing well, and they're helping the defense. So the Saline is looking like a really well-rounded team. And that's not to say Brighton isn't a well-rounded team. Saline has the edge right now, and they're just rolling with it. And Brighton's got to dig out of this hole. But it's going to be a tough one. But let's see how it unfolds.
Carter Gregg again making a couple of guys miss and getting up to the 25-yard line. We joked about this at the top of the broadcast. Grant and I did both play high school football. I played at Detroit Catholic Central. There's one of my obligatory references. Grant played at Brother Rice. That one doesn't count. But Grant played at the University of Michigan. I watched him play at the University of Michigan. So, Grant, what I wonder, in your football career, when you were on the winning side of a game like this and when you were on the losing side of a game like this, what were you thinking about?
It's tough. When you play football long enough, you're going to be in big losses. You're going to be in big wins. And it's just all about trying to stay even keel. And I know for these kids it's hard. You want to be out here doing good for the fans, for your family. But you just got to keep even keel and just keep running what the coaches give you. Just stay true to the scheme.
Tried to hit that big tight end Caleb Webb, and it was incomplete. And the other side of this too, right, is the coaches will tell you there is nothing like live reps. There's a reason in the NFL that the coaches won't let them get rid of the preseason. We have to get live reps anyway, anyhow. And the Brighton coaching staff will tell you, look, score is what it is, but this sure beats another day of practice. We're actually getting some live bodies and some live reps here.
Yeah, and even losses are lessons, right? You know, you learn your most in losses, right? Saline's going to walk away from this if they win, you know, hey, we did a really good job. But Brighton's going to come out of this with an anger, you know, just a frustration that they're going to try to work the kinks out and come out, you know, strong in week 2. And I'm not counting them out right now either. It sounds like I'm counting Brighton now. We still got, you know, 1.5 quarters to play here, but nonetheless, you know, you lose a lot or you learn a lot in your losses, and you got to be careful if you win a lot because your head might get too big and all that. But, you know, nonetheless, happy football's back, and there's a lot to learn here, win or loss.
If you couldn't tell by now that Grant and I are excited that football is back, we're very happy about that. 3rd down. Atherton throws, tipped, nearly picked. Unfortunate break for Sebastian Boya in between his hands. By the way, everybody, Lawrence Technological University, located in Southfield, here in Michigan, in Metro Detroit, among the largest college of architecture and design in the nation. Go learn more at LTU.edu. Go visit LTU.edu. So it's 4th down. Brighton will punt it away. On a night where it was 7-3 deep into the first half. But as this night has gone along, Saline has taken advantage of the opportunities that have been right in front of him. Atherton's punt, chasing the Hornets back. This is Josh Folk on the return, running right, and he's dominoed down just shy of the 50. So Saline brings the offense back in the field. Grant, I'm going to say something nice about the University of Michigan here. Every once in a while, you guys were in this type of game early on in the year, around this time of year, right? You're beating a non-conference opponent by this amount of the score. So when you were in this situation in your college days, what is the mindset in this part of the game where you're up by a healthy margin and you kind of see where it's going?
Yeah, I mean, just as a player, whether you're starting, whether you don't play at all, or whether you think you're about to get your number called, you got to stay in the game, right? It's easy to get lost in the fact that you're up 32 points, with not much time left, but you got to stay focused, and you owe that to your teammates too. Whoever's on the field, you got to give them the attention that they deserve, whether it's a hurricane or a sandstorm out there. So really just looking to see, and the coaches are going to be looking to see too, who is still in the game, right, on both sides, win and losing.
Officials sorting it out down there. A couple of times tonight they've huddled up and made sure everyone's on the same page. It's going to be a penalty on Brighton and moves Saline even deeper into opponent's territory. CJ Carr remains on the field for at least one more possession. In case you're wondering who his backup is, it's his little brother Tommy, who before the year CJ said, hopefully we can get him some reps this year. We will see if his brother gets in.
That's got to be a cool dynamic, having your brother in the same quarterback room as you, and he's learning so much from him, and I'm sure CJ learns a lot from him as well, as they probably just have a bond that's unbreakable. But yeah, like you said, we'll see how much longer CJ's in, but nonetheless, so far, really good game from CJ. He's finding the right throws. He's not making any ill-advised errors. He's getting everyone involved. I mean, Dylan Mesman, number 5, the tight end's got a catch. Number 17, LaDainian Woods, has got a catch. Number 15, a good list goes on. He's going to be a point guard in this offense because it's just he steps back, he finds his guy, and he lets them do the rest of the work, which a quarterback does love and appreciate.
We were talking about this earlier. Saline trying to get back to Ford Field. This program does have history, making that final weekend of the year. Made it all the way back in 2014. Had to win on their way there at the snowy confines of Troy Athens High against a high school who's made a few trips of their own to Ford Field. That's the mighty Technicians of Cass Tech. Man, that ground game that year for Saline was darn good, and they played an outstanding Clarkston Wolves team in the state final. Grant, you remember this game?
I do. That was actually, I'm pretty sure that was my buddy Kevin Gross right there running the ball. He actually went on to play at Michigan too with me. But yeah, that was funny seeing that, man. Good memories there. Yeah, man, Saline's got a rich tradition of doing well, and they really want to get past that salty taste in their mouth of losing early in the playoffs last year, and they're making a statement here tonight.
This drive starts in Brighton territory, and it's a throw to the far side of the field, and it's caught, but for not a ton of yards. Second down coming up. Just to further talk about what Grant was just saying, Saline's winning history. They have 11 straight winning seasons since Joe Polka took over as head coach. His record is 104-20. That's pretty darn good.
Yeah, that is. In anything you do. If you go 104-20, you're doing something right.
I'm trying to think of some walk of life where a 104-20 record is bad. That pass was picked. Tried to set up a middle screen. It got tipped and intercepted. Logan Weaver. Loving that.
And who said it was over? All it takes is one play to get this game rolling. And then this is a adrenaline shot that Brighton needed. And Logan Weaver hauls in the catch, the interception, and gets this Brighton offense here back on the field and gives them a little bit of juice. Let's see. I'm interested to see, right? I want to see if they're going to change it up. They've been throwing the short passes, but they don't have much time, right? Saline has really, really good pressure. But I want to see if they try to attack downfield more, with a little bit of sense of urgency as well. See if they go tempo, see if they pick up the pace a little bit.
So they'll come back on the field and start it right at midfield. They are still celebrating on the sidelines. Why shouldn't they celebrate? They've been waiting 9 months for that play. Atherton over the middle, and he's got it complete. Good looking all around. That's Sebastian Boya for the first down.
Really good play call there. I mean, they've been running the ball in the middle, right? And what do? You go, hey, we're going to show you run to the middle, but we're going to have our backside receiver running a little hitch route, little timing route, giving Grant Heatherton a good, easy completion there, and just moving the sticks.
You have a flag on the play, though. It's on Brighton. Side effect here, right, Grant, of some of these longer developing plays, the RPO types of plays. Sometimes when a lineman thinks it's a run and it's actually a pass, he's forced to hold.
Yeah, and that's tough, especially at the high school level, trying to teach an O-lineman, hey, you got to block downfield, but don't get too far, right? And then that's just predicates that the quarterback can't hold the ball for very long. And he didn't, but you just got to have a little sense of urgency and a little sense of awareness if you're an O-lineman in an RPO scheme.
Atherton are running left, and the Cavalry very quickly came to get him. Fedotowskin makes the tackle for Saline. I can't help but think about, Grant, as this game continues to go on. You and I were here last year when Brighton played Belleville in the KLAA title game, and the crowd here was awesome on a special Saturday afternoon. Belleville comes in, all this hype, but Brighton was so confident with the team they had last year, and all the seniors and the 8-0 record coming into that game. Atherton in trouble again, and his pass incomplete. But the way last season ended for them, they had some injuries. Quarterbacks were getting hurt. Running backs were getting hurt. They lose the last regular season game to Belleville. And then in the first playoff game to Grand Ledge, they lose 38-3, partially because of all the injuries they had. So now with Heatherton returning to be a first-year starting quarterback, he's one of the few known commodities on this Brighton team. But the way tonight has gone, there has to be a little bit of a thought of they have to go back to the drawing board here.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, you got to go back to the drawing board regardless if you're Saline or you're Brighton. And right now Brighton's got an emphasis on getting Grant Heatherton involved. And down the line, maybe they try to facilitate the ball elsewhere and try to take a little bit of the load off his shoulders. But Grant Heatherton's out there playing hard, man.
He's avoiding pressure and throwing a gorgeous ball, but it's intercepted. A little bit underthrown. Greg was behind the defense, but Jaden Leonard makes the interception. Check it, that was Nolan Klein, number 12 with the INT.
Yeah, you kind of a Hail Mary here, right? Third down and long, the clock's winding down. You don't know what the next play is going to be. Grant Heatherton takes a Hail Mary shot, trying to throw it over the defensive back's head. Has him kind of open, has him a few steps, but, throwing the ball 40 yards over a defender's head, that's not an easy task. So, he took a hard hit there, but he gave it a chance. And, they got to take chances here late in the game. I don't dislike that throw. It's 3rd down and 15. Who's to say the 4th down play would have been much better? But regardless, you got to take chances. Grant Heatherton's in there playing hard. He's taking hard hits. He's really looking like he has stepped up as a leader, like Coach Lemons has said.
So Nolan Klein gets INT number 1 of the season. Carr back in the field. He is loading up and throwing incomplete. Just a step behind the intended target. Looking for Woods again.
And that's the first time we've seen Saline go max protection. I thought that we were going to see a little bit of that earlier. But they block 8 guys. They send 2 guys on go routes. The spiral is beautiful. Threw it just right, but I just take a little bit of air off, and that thing's going to fall right in the breadbasket. Nonetheless, they take a shot there, take a chance, and, receiver or nobody. And, a pass breakup isn't the worst thing in the world.
Carr throwing again, 2nd down. Oh, man. Right between Lincoln Key's fingertips.
Sometimes when you're so open, you cover yourself, right? And it's just he's a little bit in his head there, I'd imagine. He knows he can't feel anyone around him. Ball's right where you want it, right on his hands, and it just slips through there. They're coming out throwing here, Saline still. They're stepping on the gas, and they're not taking anything off of it.
That play reminds me of the hardest shot to make in basketball, where you're wide open. How many times has Steph Curry made some contested 32-foot three, but every time he's wide open, he misses?
Great analogy there. I've missed my fair share of wide open layups, and it does not feel great.
3rd down, Carr throwing, and a diving attempt made. It is caught. Put it right on a platter, and Jaden Leonard. Nice catch, tiptoe on the sidelines.
And that's just hard to cover, man. You got to have a linebacker in the flat hook area over there to try to, make CJ Carr get off that read. But, the receiver does a great job of selling the go route, getting the defensive back to turn his hips and run and thinking it's a go, and he breaks it down, throttles, and it's a timing route. And when you got CJ Carr, man, those are going to be caught 9, 10 times out of 10.
That's the type of route, right? They've been working on all summer long, that timing you're talking about.
And the comeback, that's a great route. All the receivers out there love it because you get an opportunity to try to beat him with speed and then break him off. So it's a fun route, and CJ Carr's got a great ball on the comeback throw.
He wants to throw again. This time he missed the intended target, trying to hit Leonard again. What were your favorite routes to run? The wide receiver.
That's a good question. The comeback's a fun route. You really get to try to get that defensive back to turn his hips, and then you could say, hey, I'm stopping. The go route, I like a go route, just trying to beat him with speed. A good slant route versus press, that's a tough route to win on, and when you do, it feels really good.
You should see the smile on Grant's face as he's talking about all these routes. Pressure coming. Carr stepping away multiple times. He can run a little bit too. How about that pocket presence?
Really, really good on Carr here too. They realize Brighton's playing man coverage. They're playing press. Guys are in their face. Towards the field here with the 3 receiver set, they ran a type of pick play, but Brighton was all over it. The pick wasn't really good enough, and CJ Carr eats the throw and picks up the 1st down with his legs. It's something he can do, and he has shown to do it. So you gotta anticipate that, but it's hard, right? You gotta cover everyone and cover the quarterback. It's a hard task to ask.
Carr, another throw, knocked away. Braden Carruthers has been matched up on Dylan Mesman time and again in coverage. Mesman is 6'5", Carruthers is 5'9", but Braden's done a great job.
Braden's done a fantastic job. I don't think Dylan Mesman's caught a pass on Braden Carruthers yet, and these have been very big size mismatches, right? You got your big tight end, your 6'4", 6'5" tight end out there, split out. I wouldn't be surprised if they say, hey, you know what, Dylan, go get another one here.
Yeah, they'll keep it on the ground. Grant, you can't just be right every time, That's Zane Issa. Pretty good decision to give him the ball. Number 22 rumbling for a 1st down. There is a flag behind the play, though.
I guess I'm just living in Dylan Mesman's mind. If I was Dylan Mesman there, I'd be like, give me another one, coach. I want one more. I can't go 0 for 3. 0 for 2 on Braden Carruthers, man. But no, that's just what I think he's thinking. But they do the right thing, and they try to run the ball there and try to get some of this time down.
Can you tell Grant played wide receiver? He just wants the guy to get the ball, you know?
Mm-hmm. I'm always rooting for the receiver. Always.
So when you're watching Lions games in a couple of weeks, you're like, you know, just throw Amon-Ra the ball, you know?
He gets open, man. He is one heck of an athlete. Such a great addition to this Detroit team. I'm excited, too, to see Jameson Williams after, he serves his suspension to come in and see what kind of flair he adds to it. But nonetheless, man, good things brewing in Detroit for Detroit football, and Dan Campbell's got them soaring right now.
Final preseason game for the Lions tomorrow night against Carolina. Carr gets the snap down and hands it off to a guy with a lot of room. I mean, when you just give the football to LaDainian Woods, apparently good things happen.
Yeah, and that play was not, as far as I could see from the tape, that play wasn't designed to go to the backside. That takes a lot of skill, athleticism, and vision to, say, you know what, I'm not going to follow the blockers. I see the leverage is overflowing. I'm just going to put my foot in the ground and make my own play. He does a really good job of cut back there. And he picks up a huge, huge play there on the ground. And number 15, LaDainian Woods, man, what can't he do? I would expect him to be one of C.J. Carr's favorite targets this season after the game so far he's produced.
He had a 75-yard catch and run for a touchdown in the first half. Saline has not stopped scoring since that point. They have scored 28 unanswered. C.J. Carr on the run here. And he's escorted out of bounds with another good gain for Saline. Carr just wants to remind everybody that, hey, I can run the ball too, you know?
Yep. And when Saline says, hey, we're playing chess, no, they're playing checkers. They send LaDainian Woods across the formation, the guy that's just had a couple big plays. They get everyone to start a bite on that motion, and C.J. Carr keeps it. He hasn't done a lot of QB keeps. He's ran, he's scrambled, but they haven't had a lot of designed QB keeps, and that play was just basically thrown in their lap. Hey, we know LaDainian Woods is bringing a lot of attention. Let's see if C.J. can just read that defensive end and take it himself, which he does, and picks up a first down.
Carr wants to throw this time, and the pass incomplete. Couldn't hit Leonard. In between his hands. Could be our final play of the third quarter. Saline was up 21-3 at halftime. They've scored all 14 points here in the third quarter. We had an awesome crowd when we rolled in here to Belleville a couple of hours ago. The crowd's thinned a little bit. Carr fields the snap and throws to his tight end, Dylan Mesman. Couple of Brighton Bulldogs around him, and he still made the catch. Off to the fourth quarter we go. Heck of a start to the year for the Saline Hornets. After 3 quarters of football, it is 35-3.
At Hungry Howie's, we're famous for flavor, and this is our Chief Flavor Officer. Every hour of every day, our CFO obsesses over the tastiest ingredients, combining them to create new flavor combinations your taste buds never knew they needed. Until now. Introducing his latest master pizza, the Bee Sting. Hot honey drizzle, classic cup pepperoni, and spicy jalapenos, or any 2 toppings. And our famous flavored crust. It's all the buzz.
Hungry Howie's! At Alto Equipment, we know when it comes to getting your job completed on budget and on schedule, uptime matters. Alto Equipment has partnered with the biggest names in construction, including Volvo, Leeboy, Bogan, Avant, ASV, and more to provide the state of Michigan with industry-leading service and support. Alto Equipment services all makes and models, and their technicians are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Do you have a big project? Alta Rents has you covered with the most diverse rental fleet in Michigan. Give them a call at 844-GO-TO-ALTA today.
Every high school sporting event in the state of Michigan has one thing in common: officials. Every game, every meet, every match. Without officials, there'd be no touchdowns, no three-pointers, no face-offs. Without officials, there'd be no games. Officiating is a great way to give back to your community and stay involved with the sports you love. And officials are needed now more than ever, because without officials, it's just practice.
Well, we told you that C.J. Carr was hoping to get his brother Tommy some reps throughout this high school football season. It took him 3 quarters to get Tommy some reps. Younger brother Carr is in. CJ is out after a heck of a 3 quarters of football to start his 2023 season. And now we get to see the 6'2 sophomore Tommy Carr, CJ's younger brother. He's a 3-sport guy, plays a little hoops, a little baseball. And he gets to play in front of the Thursday night lights. Let's see what he's got. He's going to hand off here as Saline runs ahead and gets a first down. Josh Folk on the stretch run. Just a little bit shy of gaining that first down. Wrapped up Folk before he got to the sticks. It's going to be 4th down and short for Saline, just about a yard. Where do they go with a backup quarterback in? Low snap. Carr fields it all right. And that's a pretty darn good run. First down for Saline. Zane Issa powering up the middle.
Yeah, really good run there by Zane Issa. You know, it looks like Saline's going to step off the gas a little bit as they put Tommy Carr in. They want him just to kind of milk this clock, run it down. In the first 2 plays they're in, man, they get a first down, which is huge. Give it to Zane Issa up the middle. He does the rest of the work. He's a little bolder, man. He's got some thick thighs in there. He's running hard. It's good to see everyone get involved here for Saline.
They're going to let him throw this time. And his pass is caught. Falk wrapped up in the open field. It's one of those tricky spots, right? If you're Brighton, you're going to leave your starters on the field, but Saline cycles some young guys through, and those young guys are thrown right into the fire.
Yeah. Saline's not going to slow down, with their play style, right? The play calling may slow down, but their play style won't, right? Every kid's out there, they want to do the best they can. They want to go as hard as they can. And Brighton, they're playing, I'm sure they're playing a little mad right now, right? So, you saw him toss him to the ground on the tackle. So they're definitely, they want to try to get something, cause Saline some trouble here.
Carr gives. Issa runs. Lowers his shoulder. Edgeworth held on for dear life on that tackle.
And just really good job there. I mean, they're just sealing the edge. And that was a little counter play. They brought the pullers from the backside. But just a really, really, really good job on the O-line. But just sealing the edge and giving Zane Issa room to work there. Credit to, can you say it for me? I have trouble with it. I apologize. Tyler Fedetotskin.
Fedetotskin, there we go.
There it is.
I apologize for not picking up on that sooner. Another good block, by the way. Issa rumbling down near the 5. Saline moving again. Friendly reminder for you, Hungry Howie's, such a great partner of the State Champs Networks, Mr. Football, and Anvil Awards. Congrats to Hungry Howie's. 50 years of the best flavored crust pizza. Believe me, it's amazing. Order your pizza at hungryhowies.com. I may have to do that as soon as we leave. Carr to Issa. Again, a Saline touchdown. Putting the cherry on top of one heck of a night in game 1 of the year.
Really good drive there. They started the drive with C.J. Carr throwing the ball. It looked like they weren't taking the gas, stepping off the gas at all. They do a good job here. Tommy Carr is just commanding the offense, how they expect him to do when he steps in and runs the helm at quarterback. Just give him the ball to the playmakers right now, and the line is doing a lot of the work. You'll see here, he's just checking the defense. They're in a flat covered goal line 0. Just going to hand the ball off, and these linemen just do the work, man. Look at that hole there, and Zane Issa takes no time. Just sprints right through it and gets a touchdown. Good for the running back. Good for the big fella. 22, Zane Issa.
Look, so many people, Grant, are going to watch back this game. They're going to check the score, and they're going to go, okay, how's C.J. Carr do, right? He's the entire Saline team. But if you're not paying attention to Issa, you're not paying attention to James Rush, you're not paying attention to wide receivers like Fox and Folk and Leonard and Dylan Mesman at the tight end spot, it's the mark of a good quarterback that he's got great friends to throw and give the ball to, and that's really the Saline football team.
Yeah, and there was a big question coming in today for Saline. They returned number 5, Dylan Mesman, and they returned number 11, Cade Fox. But they lost 2 really big receivers in number 8, Roman Lario, and number 18, Garrett Baldwin last year, who were top 5 in their production at receiver position. So it's it just shows a lot, too, of the chemistry that they built this offseason, right? It looks like they haven't lost a stride, and C.J. Carr is as advertised. He's played well, past tense, and he's letting his little brother run the show now.
By the way, they're going to go back and watch this, and CJ's going to critique every single throw Tommy made. Come on, man. I'm better than that.
Yeah, they'll critique it. I'm sure they got some good banter. I'm sure they throw some shots back at each other. And Tommy could say, hey, what's up with that interception you threw earlier? So, he could throw something back at him as well. Just depends on what kind of brotherly love they share.
Piniatoglu back out to kick it once again for Saline. This is Jake's first year as the full-time kicker. Yes, he also plays soccer. Brighton fields the kick right around the 5 and tackled around the 15. We kind of figured that we'd have issues getting this ball game in without Mother Nature playing a factor. I've seen a couple of flashes of lightning. This is one of those nights where it's so hot, so warm, so humid, so sticky. You just keep looking up and going, okay, when's the storm coming? It's coming.
Yeah, and the little lightning bolts out there just saying, hey, we're here, we're knocking. But, we're going to try to get this game through. 8 minutes left, the clock's running. We got some new players in for Brighton as well and for Saline. So everyone's getting some reps here, and hopefully they don't get cut short.
Brighton will bring a new quarterback into the game. Grant Heatherton's day is done. That is a very similar action to what Grant was doing all day, running the football. They'll bring in the youngster, Zach Watkins, number 14, the junior. And I'll say it for him. I'm speaking from personal experience here as a guy who didn't get every single starting rep. To a lot of people, playing in a game like this, 42-3, what does it mean? For a guy like that, it means everything. Everything.
And that's why you want your teammates that aren't playing, that played earlier, to show the same support that they showed you, while the game kicked off, when it was at its hypest, You just got to show respect to each other, and you can't, fade away if you're losing, or if you're winning, you can't celebrate too much until that clock hits 0. Just out of respect for the game and respect for your teammates that give you those look in practices, right? You can't have a successful season without the scout team, without the guys that come in second. So there is just as much important as the starters, and hopefully they're showing support to those guys out there on the field now.
Watkins will run it again, and he runs into the teeth of the Saline defense. Going to be 4th down. Lawrence Tech Blue Devil football team kicking off the 2023 season. Their first home game in a couple of days against the always pesky Indiana Wesleyan Club. Game will be live on TV 20 Detroit coming up Saturday, 7 o'clock. For a little more information, go to LTUathletics.com. Lawrence Tech football team, of course, still in the infancy stages of that program's career. Last year, a really tough schedule. Football team that took a brief step back, but I know Coach Mitchell and that entire coaching staff are ready to get the season underway. Grant, we're nearly through this first football game, and I'm not going to lie to you, it's still a little weird that we're calling a football game.
I know. I can't tell if I'm sleeping, I'm in a dream, or I'm just in real life. This is fantastic. I wouldn't want it any other way. Hot night on a Thursday night here in Brighton, Michigan. Football is back. You can smell the grass when football season comes around. It just has a different feel to it. The pads, the smell of those. It's just a good time to be around the sport, and no one. I mean, at least no one hates the football coming around. Maybe my girlfriend, because I don't leave the couch on NFL Red Zone Sundays. But besides that, everything is good.
Friendly reminder for you, we're traveling around the state of Michigan all fall long. Next week, we're going to the Lakes Valley Conference. Our next Game Time Live broadcast, South Line and Waterford Mott, coming live next Thursday, August 31st, 7 o'clock on the State Champs YouTube channel. And also remember, we got the simulcast on WJR 760, the great voice of the Great Lakes. For anyone who's been listening to that broadcast tonight, you're still listening right now, thanks for making a little time. Saline up 42-3 on Brighton. Under 6 minutes to go, and Tommy Carr, Saline's backup quarterback, coming back in the field. Waterford Mott, in their first ball game of the year, played Walled Lake Western. A couple of programs expected to win a bunch of football games this year. Played at the Prep Kickoff Classic in Wayne State earlier today and lost 42-27. That Prep Kickoff Classic the next couple of days loaded with great matchups. Belleville, River Rouge tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. And then the first game on Saturday is Southfield A&T and Cass Tech, who played an utterly wild game last year. I think the combined score, the final score was 59-57 in 3 overtimes.
That was a wild game. And Corey Sadler for Cass Tech, I heard, is going to be playing some QB this year. That should be a fun matchup. Corey Sadler versus Isaiah Marshall. That'll be a heck of a matchup to watch.
I mean, we've talked so much tonight about C.J. Carr, the outstanding quarterback for Saline. It's his younger brother Tommy in the ball game now as Zane Issa gets another carry. Bryce Underwood, Belleville's quarterback. I mean, look, people just don't know him in Michigan. They know him around America. He's the best junior quarterback in America. He can go wherever he wants to play college football. Isaiah Marshall committed to go to Kansas. That's a Jayhawk football team that had a great year last year. And then, Corey Sadler was so good last year for Cass Tech, wide receiver, defensive back, was on the state championship winning basketball team, was their first guy off the bench. And now, just for fun, he's going to go play quarterback this year as one of the best sophomores in America.
And do it with ease, I'd imagine. I imagine he slides into that role and succeeds and has a really good season. He's a really athletic kid. He's fun to watch, man. He's electric.
This on the carry again. I heard a rumor that a certain football coach from Alabama made a trip up this summer to take a look at Corey Sadler. That certain football coach from Alabama just doesn't come and visit anybody, you know?
That's like a sighting of Santa. You know, those are rare occasions. And if you got Nick Saban coming up to visit you, that says a thing or two about the way you play football. And at a young age too. What's he going into his sophomore year? That's impressive stuff. A lot of people are saying that he's going to have, if not more hype than Donovan People-Jones did coming out. He was a big prospect that I played with at Michigan, and they're saying Corey's going to replicate that, if not take it to another level.
Yes, that's the same Donovan Peoples-Jones that's been catching touchdowns in the NFL. Saline will run it again on 3rd down. A strong run will get them the first down and keep the clock moving, coming up on 3 minutes remaining. Broadcast of this game is a copyright presentation of the State Champs Network. No reproduction, retransmission, or other distribution or descriptions or accounts of this game may take place without the express written consent of the State Champs Sports Network. Saline well on their way to win number 1. A season where they expect to have just a few more than 1 wins. Football team that comes in widely considered one of the best in the state, considered a true contender in a crowded Division I field. We were just talking about, Grant, some of the teams in Division I. Cass Tech going to be good again. Southfield A&T and Cass Tech playing later on this weekend at Wayne State. Belleville, everyone is expecting they're going to make another deep run, maybe win 3 straight state championships. And don't forget about Rochester Adams at the Division I level as well. Brady Priestcorn, an outstanding tight end. They lost in the playoffs last year in the regional final to Clarkston on a last-second touchdown. So they're coming back for more.
A lot of teams got a lot of motivation coming into this year. And a common theme that I feel like the Saline coaches are going to instill into their players after this win is, hey, we played really good at the beginning of the season last year, but we tailed off, right? You got to play good ball all the way through. This is going to be a great stepping stone for them to learn from. But I bet the coach, head coach Joe Palka, emphasizes, hey, this is week 1. Everyone week 1 has a little bit of rust, right? Maybe Brighton wasn't on their A game today. But nonetheless, you got to keep the momentum rolling. You got to play your best ball late in the season in playoff time. And so that's what they're going to be working towards each and every week that they come and take the field.
Grant, you know this as well as I do. It's amazing playing football. You can walk off the field after a game like this and go, man, that was great. What can they find that was wrong? And then you go watch film and went, oh, I never should have thought that.
Oh, yeah, and there would be times where I'd sit in those meeting rooms and I'd kind of cover my head because I knew a couple of my plays would come up and I knew Coach would get mad at me. But you can always find lessons in losses and wins, and and they'll find ways to get better. Saline will, and so will Brighton. And that's just the life of football, right? You know, you learn, you win, you lose, you learn, you win, you lose. It's just a big circle, and both these teams are going to take away a lot of things from today.
The rain's coming. It hasn't started yet, but there are multiple flashes of lightning. The clock's rolling with under 40 seconds left, and the only thing left to be decided if we finish this game or they just call it before the storm. One final knee, the game is over, and everyone runs to their cars. Saline brought the lightning tonight. C.J. Carr, one of the finest quarterbacks in America, a 42-3 win. Brighton will have better days, but tonight in game one, day one of the Michigan high school football season, Saline just wants to make sure you're all paying attention. Hornets move to 1-0, Brighton down to 0-1. It's a couple of football teams who will have their ups and downs throughout the year. I always think about Grant Wright after week one. We've been waiting for football for so long. It's high school, it's college, it's the pro level. Everyone overreacts to this type of game, and you watch this type of game, and you're almost fighting yourself as a broadcaster, not trying to lean one way or the other, because sometimes what happens in week one isn't what happens in week 11.
Yeah, and both of these teams are going to take today as a lesson, whether they won or they lost, right? And it's just, you got to build on it. You got to add to it. What did we do wrong? Let's fix it. How can we fix it? Are there some players that didn't play that could have provided a spark for us when we need one, right? There's a lot of questions, and these coaches are going to go have a long watch of this film, both sides of the ball. Week one, you get everything on tape, and you get to actually see it versus another team, another color, jersey. So I enjoyed calling it with you today. It was a blast. Fun watching C.J. Carr and company go to town. And don't count out Brighton, though, man. They're gonna bounce back from this, and they're gonna have a good season because Coach Lemons runs a good program, and they do really good things there at Brighton.
All right, you've heard enough of us. Down onto the field, C.J. Carr standing by with Liz.
Hey guys, we're here with CJ. Week one, a big win. What does that say about this Saline team in particular?
Yeah, I think it was a great way to start off the season. I think we kind of showed what we had on the field today. Definitely room to improve. I know the score says something, but we're going to go back in the film room tomorrow and correct our mistakes and hopefully fix them for Dexter.
Yeah, and you guys had success both offensively and defensively. So what are some of the key takeaways moving forward?
Yeah, I think just understanding when I have to get the ball out. A lot falls on me. And so just fixing those little mistakes. Obviously, you put up 42 points, you're very happy, but you can always improve.
Yeah, and you look out, you see the student section and the crowd. I mean, it's an away game. What does that support mean to you?
Yeah, before the game, I know the Brighton coach said they were shutting down the city, and that kind of got us excited just because we love a big crowd, we love an energetic game. We have a senior team, and so we played in a bunch of those big games. So I think that fueled us a little bit and helped overall.
All right, well, congratulations. Go celebrate.
Thank you so much.
All right, guys, back to you.
CJ, you're going to be seeing some pretty darn big crowds starting next year down the road in South Bend. But for now, we're going to enjoy watching you play football. A heck of a win for the Saline Hornets. We got to wrap up the broadcast and get to our cars before we get pelted with rain. So, final here tonight from Brighton High School. Brighton 3, Saline 42. Hornets, one of the best teams in the state of Michigan, and they're off to a strong start. For Grant, Liz, and the whole crew, Evan Stockton saying, thanks for joining us this week. We'll see you next week, Thursday night. Game.
State Champs Game Time Live is delivered by Hungry Howie's Pizza, celebrating 50 years of flavor. State Champs Game Time Live is also brought to you by Lawrence Technological University. Be curious, make magic. The future of education begins at ltu.edu. Alta Equipment, Michigan's #1 construction equipment provider, proudly representing the industry's top brands. Get the right equipment for your project every time with Alta Equipment. The Construction Association of Michigan, the voice of the construction industry in Michigan. U.S. Navy, transform your life and become part of something bigger. Learn more about naval careers at Navy.com. And the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics.